You need a great opener, like somehow we're adults. Do.
We can record that right
some
now.
Some kind of like.
We can record that right now.
Everybody be quiet.
Somehow we're adults.
Okay, Jake. So, do you want to start this by picking up where we left off and just telling everybody how Social Security doesn't know who you are?
I was never born.
That's a good segue, and then I can tell them how Social Security fucked me. So I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
So start. Okay.
Is that what you named the four-wheeler?
Sort of.
Social Security?
Sort of. and then Old Smokey got sold because he's a bad habit.
Yo. I am not prepared. This is not for the sensitive people.
You need to probably leave that in too. It's not for sensitive. For the faint of heart.
yeah.
I need to have some kind of introduction.
I hope to edit this not at all. I hope it's just complete debauchery.
The seating arrangement here, per se. You might need to have some kind of introduction here.
What,
to the
oldest to youngest?
arrangement.
I mean, is that what we're
like
after?
why we're sitting in regular chairs?
And she brought her own?
Is that the best way to start? Because I'm cool. How are you guys going to
I
start?
mean, it's possible. I was going to put my
do you want to explain what happened? Do you want to explain the situation first before Jake talks about he doesn't exist?
I wish.
I mean,
talk about how your life changed, then Jake will talk about how he doesn't have one.
I think we should probably pick up where we left off. That way he gets the full episode of his life complete.
We spent a lot of time talking about
seven
Fast
more
and
episodes at least.
we spent a lot of time talking about the Fast and Furious, and it was definitely. I've been editing a lot of videos.
Some of those are pretty good though.
I have a good time editing them. They're fun.
Yeah.
All right, so Social Security. So if anyone who hasn't seen the previous episode with Jake Suarez, two things. His Instagram handle is I wish I was Jake. He hates when people send him spider videos and leg breaks, so send him all those. And then the other thing was that Jake was originally born Brandon, and he transitioned and.
Before it was cool.
He transitioned from Brandon to Jake, so apparently...
forcefully, we might add.
I highly recommend that you watch that episode, but in order to make this one like a standalone episode, do you mind giving a brief synopsis of how you were stolen as a child?
Again.
Legally
stolen. That's right. That's the important part, right?
You can't make this shit up.
No.
I don't know. I've never given a condensed version of anything throughout my entire life.
Or, yes, we got it.
All right, Jake. All right, so
watch the last episode.
So, I mean, that's probably the best thing to do. But basically, as a child, God damn, I don't know. We need to figure out. We need to type this up. Chat GPT. Here's everything. Make this shorter.
In very short, my great aunt convinced herself that she was my mom because she is a psychopath,
100%.
and she worked her way through the system and legally became my mom without anybody else's permission. So that basically.
So he was basically stolen by his great aunt from his.
When I was 4 months old, so like I grew up knowing her as mom and everything. So
yeah, and you had to find out as an adult that you were not who you were.
Well, I always knew I was adopted. I found out when I was in 6th grade that I was.
You were adopted.
I knew like I wasn't being raised by my birth parents, but I never knew who my parents were. And she told me when I was in 6th grade, I told her we were at a restaurant. I said, I'm not getting up. And 6th grade, I'm 270 pounds in 6th grade. I mean.
sorry.
And I said, I'm not moving. She can't move me. Nobody can move me. I'm a fucking unit. So I'm not getting up till you tell me who I am, who my parents are. She ended up telling me that my father is who I had always called Uncle Joey, because I had always like referred to everyone as, and I was like, so wait a minute, I'm part of the family. I always thought none of these people that I were calling family were my family. I am blood related to them. Like my grandma that I've always called grandma, which didn't make sense because it was her sister. So I should have been calling her aunt, but I had always naturally called her Nana. And she was my grandma. So it was very, very strange. So anyway, when you're legally, when you're adopted, and I'm not really sure how this works, but your birth certificate changes.
Right.
Like, so I don't know who was on my original birth certificate, obviously, because I was a bastard child. I was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy who was standing there thinking he was my father wasn't my father. It was his best friend.
Last episode of the podcast, episode 64, Jake Suarez. Check it out. There's a lot more to this story. There's a lot. You pull. It's like one of those. What is it? One of those things you pull and it just keeps going. It's like.
Wait. Are you talking about one of these?
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. So, because of that, let's segue this into you're now an adult. Mm-hmm. Why were you at Social Security office?
I had lost my Social Security card, literally just being myself losing everything. I'd lose my head if it wasn't on my shoulders.
I think you've still lost that.
Actually, that's a pretty good point. I'm not going to lie. That's something to consider. So I was in the Social Security office trying to get a new Social Security card, and you had to fill out all the information and whatnot, and one of the questions was, who are the parents on your birth certificate? And like I said, when you're legally adopted.
Ronald McDonald.
This is Florida.
No last name, just McLovin. I put, who my, I won't say specific names, whatever, but, who adopted me.
Yeah.
And I go back up to the window, and the lady goes, well, everything here looks okay, except the parents you wrote down are not the parents we have on file. I'm thinking in my head, this is probably the first time she's ever had to say that to anybody. But I was like...
Can you imagine me the person to break that news to somebody, too?
I mean...
Hey, who you've been calling
so
Mama
you know.
and Dada is fucking fake news.
Right.
It's the CNN of news.
I'm like...
Yeah.
Okay, who is on my file for my parents? She goes, oh, I can't tell you that.
I'm not allowed.
And I looked at her
It's
like,
private information.
You mean to tell me if I was on the other side of that screen, I would know who my parents are, but you won't tell me who my parents... You've got the greatest secret ever, but you won't let me have it.
or at least who the government considers who my parents are.
Can we just say, turn the screen around? You
Speaking of parents, it's my father.
Daddy, is that you?
I'll see you in 10 years.
Yeah.
Ain't 1st July.
Oh, the Ricky Bobby reference.
So I'm like, what? I was like, okay. If I say the names that you're looking at, will you tell me if I'm right?
Will you tell me hot or cold? This poor lady at Social Security is like, I get minimum fucking wage
Exactly.
to deal with this fucking asshole and his family problems.
She kind of like considered for a second. She's like, yeah, I'd do that. I was like, okay. Does it say...
You're paying Russian roulette with fucking family.
Pretty much. It's green or red.
So fucked up.
So I said my birth parents' name. I said, is it Joe Rodriguez and Don Starcheski? And she looks at the computer. She goes, no. And I did that right there. Started dying laughing in the middle of the Social Security office. And she goes, sir, what's funny? This is a very serious matter. And I looked that lady dead in the face and said, back to square one.
No, what you should have said is like, I can't find my parents.
Who am I?
But I'm not in the grocery store. I'm at the Social Security office.
Now all I know is I'm definitely stolen.
Oh, no.
So apparently I was never born. For some reason, they gave me my Social Security card. Like, you would have thought that'd be some kind of like national security threat kind
There's
of deal.
a legal
like,
document.
this guy
that
has
didn't get
no
filled
idea
out.
who he is, where he comes from. Here's your number. I don't know. It was really weird. But I still don't know.
Just imagine. I just picture this old lady like having dinner with her husband that night. She's like, "Fucking get this, Rick."
There's this dude that came walking in.
And this motherfucker didn't know his parents, and I had to tell him he didn't know his parents. And this chicken's dry as fuck. Sorry.
And I had to tell him that I can't tell him.
And then he just started guessing.
wrong?
Back to the old drawing board, bud.
He took him 3 tries and he still didn't get it. You imagine the husband who probably works at some like fucking mechanic shop, just like, oh, I did somebody's brakes today.
Might have actually cut the line. I'm not sure.
So I don't exist. I was never born. I'm not real. It's all simulation. It's fairy
Wait,
dust.
But you still got your social security card.
And jelly beans. So
Yep. And then I found my original one. I knew it was the original because the number was 5. Oh.
We are way too soon in this podcast to be laughing this hard.
wow.
Good times.
I am so not surprised. I think I remember that day though.
I remember the phone call where he
I think I was
called
living
Cody.
with you.
You were.
I remember when you called Cody and you're like, apparently I don't fucking exist.
Holy crap.
I remember because I was with Cody when you called him.
Yeah.
And that's
That's exactly how I would have said it.
Yep.
Cody's like, hey Jake, what's up? Apparently I don't fucking exist.
Exactly.
No hello, nothing. I can just imagine you're in the parking lot of Social Security getting in your truck. Apparently I don't fucking exist.
Biggest relief of my life. I don't exist.
Wait, I've been paying taxes all this time?
Exactly. And you get to walk back into the store the next day and go, I don't have to do this anymore because
Not real.
Who are you guys even paying?
I'll keep collecting, but I'm not paying taxes. So stop taking the FDIC shit
That's
out
right.
of my...
That's
Oh,
right.
man.
Start her off strong, bud.
And you pay Social Security tax, which is funny as fuck, too.
Regardless.
Messed up.
Hey,
and they
I-
can't even tell me.
I appreciate this.
And they give you nothing. You know what would be a bigger fuck you is when he goes to retire and they're like, oh, Social Security doesn't exist anymore.
Hey. But I
It was
appreciate
barely
the help.
there for me.
I appreciate the help.
Oh,
You're
man.
welcome.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'd rather go to people like you who need
Hey,
it.
you know, I'm just saying. I appreciate the help.
So do you want to tell your story now? How you ended up in the chair?
Oh. You mean the one I brought with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That bitchin' went on, what is it, 26s?
Not yet.
26.
I'm
You
still
got the
waiting.
rims with the
Hey.
spindles?
26s and up or their training wheels.
Yeah. Which...
All
so-
my vehicles will always ever have training wheels then. You're ridiculous.
Anything more than that, and I can't fit through the 36-inch door. So we have problems all the way around.
Dude, the things I like just for you coming over for this podcast that I'd like never considered. Like just the thoughts. I was like, oh my gosh, like the doorway thing. Like we went to bring you through the back door and I was like, oh shit, like you're not gonna be able to fit through the second doorway. And I'm like, just the more thinking you have to do in order to be like, okay, where am I going? How am I getting there? That's it's a whole other thing I never even considered. You don't consider if you don't do it often enough.
That's exactly right. I mean, logistics are a very big thing when it comes to this lifestyle. It's really nuts, actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, you boys picked up on it so quickly, though. Once the accident happened, it was amazing to me. Just how quick.
What year did it happen?
2013.
2013. So it's been 10 years now.
10 years. This year was 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wake up every morning. For the last 10 years, it's been really hard, but the past 2, I've gotten some really good techniques that were given to me. So the last 2 years on the anniversary, which was August the 31st, someone very important to me basically said, here's what I want you to do. On the day of that you're supposed to be thinking about this whole thing, because it's happened to you, there's no way. You can't get rid of it, clearly. You know, I want you to wake up, because I would wake up every morning that day, and the first thing that would happen is I would see my chair, and it would damn near break my heart all over again. And I would just sit in my bed and cry. And she said, what I want you to do is I want you to roll over. I want you to look at that chair, and I want you to flip it off.
Fuck that thing.
That's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And then I want you to literally say out loud, fuck you. I might physically
I
need you.
own you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she said.
You're
I
my
might
bitch.
physically need you, but I own you, motherfucker. I literally paid $5,000 for you, bitch. So this is how
Isn't
we're
that
doing it.
crazy that they cost $5,000?
Oh, that was after insurance.
Talk about supply and demand.
That's
That's
so
exactly
fucked.
what it
It's
is.
messed up, honestly. The
Dude.
tire replacements.
$800 for 2
Bro, I can get 40s for less than that.
tires. See? I wish I could fit on
messed
40s,
up.
but that's,
That's
not
so
happening.
fucked up.
It's ridiculous.
I've watched podcasts before on like medical supplies
Mm-hmm.
and like the whole healthcare industry in this fucking country is just
It's
out
stupid.
of whack.
It's so stupid.
Because they know that you're going to get that through insurance, they will charge way more than
Yep.
they need to
They
for
jack
it.
it up.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Like previously, I was on a medication that cost $85,000 a year for 2 doses.
Yep. Yep.
2 doses.
It's insane. But
Because it was a new dose.
Yes.
Insurance, my copay, $50. Insurance coming out $84,000.
$4,000 and some change.
Yeah, yeah.
See how
Almost
that worked out?
85,000. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I mean, like, yeah, the chair alone itself, it costs a crap ton of money. And if you don't have, imagine if you don't have insurance of any kind. Now, granted, when my accident happened, 3 days after the accident. So, for everybody that doesn't know at this point,
Which is probably the majority of the people besides like Cody or the normal friends. Yeah.
you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So, at the time, I weighed 97 pounds. We went to camp, which was a place we had been for 14 years.
Explain
solid.
what camp is.
Hoopla.
Because I know what camp.
Hoopla, yeah. Hullapall, Florida.
It's like a mud camp kind of thing like that.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like people go out
11,000 acres of America.
Kind of like
Yes.
if people know what River Ranch is, Hullapall is very
Yes.
similar to River Ranch.
But better.
Side by sides, full wheelers. It doesn't take much to be better than River Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
But
dirt road better.
pretty much. Actually, yes, you're right.
Solid road.
Yeah. This is the most off-roading I've done since my accident. So it's great.
Yeah. in the focus.
In a Ford Focus, exactly.
Straight
With two-row
getting it.
drive. I mean, if I could have been. I was afraid Wyatt's parents would have been like, what the hell is going on? So, but,
Yeah. It is what it is.
so yeah, I weighed 97 pounds, was out riding. I had to venture out to look for a lost object that apparently wasn't lost at the time. And because I was looking for it, I was panning the road side to side and just took a little bit too long coming back to my right and hit a exposed palmetto root that normally wouldn't have been exposed, but we had had a lot of rain the weekend before, so there's some pretty big washouts. And I hit that exposed palmetto root, and the four-wheeler flipped, unfortunately went the same direction as me. And I picked a fight with a four-wheeler and I lost. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. I don't remember the day before the accident at all.
The day before the accident?
I do
But
not
you remember all the way up to the accident.
No, yes, I remember up to the accident, and I remember the accident completely clear. I remember everything about the accident until I got to the trauma center and they put me to sleep. Like, I can tell you everything that happened in the helicopter ride, which, by the way, I would never recommend a helicopter ride to anyone because they fucking suck.
Really?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Why is that?
They're loud, they're obnoxious, they're painful. If you're in pain, they don't help that at all.
Yeah.
Unless you are one of those folks who can afford one of those very fancy helicopters. It's got all the plush interior. No.
No.
But a regular helicopter ride, they suck.
No.
Go in a hot air balloon. It's way better.
They didn't give you pain medication?
They were starting it as we were starting to lift off. But at that point,
It's the quickest ride.
it really was.
Yeah,
at the-
out
yeah.
there, man. I mean, it would take. Well, an ambulance wouldn't be able to get to you
No.
at all.
No.
Yeah.
It would take you minimum an hour to get back to the entrance if somebody was there with you and
Yeah.
like to take you. Say you broke your leg
you
or
were
something.
you were found there too, right? Correct?
Yes.
Because you didn't call. You weren't able to call anybody
No,
or
I
anything
was
like
out.
that. Yeah.
So when the four-wheeler flipped, luckily there was as much sand because had I been in anything other than sand, I would not be sitting here enjoying this podcast with you.
No shit.
The surgeon basically said that literally it was just the sand that saved my life.
Because it was soft.
Yeah. So I remember hitting the sand and my chin hitting the ground, which is what knocked me out initially. I came to with Bubba in my face,
Bubba being your son.
Yeah.
For people listening. Yeah.
laying flat, like he was laying literally right in my face, flat on his tummy. So the folks that found me were his grandfather and his grandfather's best friend. And there was also a side-by-side that came by with, luckily, a woman who was a nurse. She was with her husband. They were out riding, and they'd been out there plenty of times. I actually knew her. She pulled her emergency kit out, threw the heat shield blanket on me at that point. So when by the time his grandfather and best friend pulled the four-wheeler off of me.
Oh, it was still on you at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
The four-wheeler's still on me. So his grandfather and best friend pulled the four-wheeler off of me, and they knew immediately that there was something wrong just by the contortion of the body. So she and her husband pulled up, and instantly she threw this blanket over me because she saw Bubba coming and knew that that was my son.
And it was going to be traumatizing.
It was something, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even stop his four-wheeler, actually. He came off of his four-wheeler and just dove into the sand right in front of my face. And he had a hold of both my hands. I was, I guess, starting to come out of what I was in, but oddly enough, what I was seeing was not what I was hearing initially. I was seeing my father, who had passed 2 years prior. And my dad's family in the generations back are Native American. My grandmother was damn near half Cherokee, basically. You could see it in every ounce of her. My dad was the quintessential wife beater, blue jeans, moccasins. That's what he wore all the time. And he was standing in front of me, which I was standing there. And he was standing in front of me with his hands stuffed in his pockets, because that's how he would stand. And all I was saying was, Pops, it hurts. 'Cause that was what I called my dad, was Pops. I would say, Pops, it hurts. Come get me. And the next thing I know, I hear Bubba saying, Mom, I need you to open your eyes. You cannot go with Grandpa. Mom, open your eyes. Mom. And apparently there was a decision clearly made.
Yeah.
And I opened my eyes, and I could hear in the back, I mean, it was kind of like white noise, but I could hear it. I heard the nurse, and she kept telling him, just talk to her. I need her eyes open. Just talk to her. And the next thing I know, they did have an ambulance on standby that had tracks. So they got in.
You have an ambulance with tracks?
Yes. Specifically for Hollow Paw.
Oh, okay. I'm like, where the fuck does that even come from?
They had an ambulance made on tracks, but the problem was the damage that I had, they knew that even if they put me in that ambulance, it would cause even more damage. So they called in Lifeline.
Yeah.
But I could hear the ambulance.
Which is probably, even though it was painful, like, time is of the essence.
I could hear Fish and Wildlife. I could hear the ambulance. They were coming, and the next thing I know, I have this guy. His name was Brian. I'm going to give you those names because I can remember them plain as day. His name was Brian. He instantly asked my name. I repeated it to him. He said, who's this guy? I gave him my son's name. And he was trying to tell my son to leave. And I told him, I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I said, he is staying here, and he's going to watch everything you're doing, because he is actually, because at that point he hadn't transitioned to culinary. He was
still in the ENT program at school.
Yeah, that's right.
And I told Brian that. I said, he's going to watch everything you're doing because he's learning to do your job. And he was like, okay, calm down.
Hell of a time for a learning experience, Mom.
Well,
Jesus Christ. Right?
I couldn't help myself. The mom was still there. I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So the helicopter landed about the same time. This dude is pumping me full of meds, and he keeps telling me, you're going to feel this cool whatever in your arm. I got to give you this. I got to give you that. And he's telling me these things. And I kept just trying to focus on my son, because in the back I could hear his grandfather say, that's not where her knees are supposed to be.
The grandfather, his
grandfather
grandfather,
was saying that's not where her
which
knees
is,
are supposed to be.
this is, okay, your great grandfather's who we were just talking about.
No. Oh, yeah, no, my dad was who I saw.
Okay, but this is a real person. Okay.
This is, yeah.
I say real,
guy,
this is
the guy
okay.
that flipped the four-wheeler off of me.
Okay, got you.
And
his grandfather, your dad. Or,
no.
Yeah, I got
the
you.
other grandfather.
Yeah, his other, okay,
Yeah.
got you.
So he literally said that's not where her knees are supposed to be. And, I mean, I was trying to comprehend what that would look like. And so I was really just trying to focus on my son's face at that point. And I could hear the helicopter starting to land. And the next thing I know...
You got to be... Are you not freaking out at this point?
No, I couldn't feel anything. Like, my whole body was in shock. So I couldn't feel anything. And the guy was asking me... Brian was asking me. So I'm going to... Like, he was touching my arm. He was touching certain parts, you know. And, of course, he didn't want to like touch my legs or anything, because I'm pretty sure he had realized that I knew I couldn't feel anything. And the helicopter lands, and the guy comes out of the helicopter, and he comes walking over, and he damn near sits down next to the EMT, and the EMT gives him, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, this is what and the guy just decides to introduce himself to me. And shockingly enough, it rang to me instantly because the guy said, "Hey, my name is Gary." That's my dad's name.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coming from above.
Yeah.
Coming down, from the heavens,
Wow.
essentially. Yeah, that's crazy.
So he starts saying, "Look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get you loaded up on this basically cot, if you will." He said, "There's probably going to be a little bit of pain, but I want you to understand we're going to do what we can to take care of you." And I told him, I was like, "Well, my son needs to go with me." He goes, "Well, he said, Cari, I'd like to do that, but if your son goes with us, then either my pilot or my assistant trauma nurse has to stay." I was like, "Well,
How fast that 4-wheeler go?
we probably need both of those."
Bubba, what do you think you could do better? Trauma nurse or pilot? You gotta choose fast.
Or how do you drive?
So he kind of looked at Bubba and he went, "I'm pretty sure he knows where we're going. And I can almost promise you that they're going to get there a little bit after we do, because I'm thinking that my helicopter goes a little faster." We're talking a 45-minute roll because it was just in the southern part of Melbourne where the trauma center was. It took the helicopter 15 minutes to get there. The drive was a little bit longer, mind you, because Bubba now has to get his father, his sister,
Boy, I
two
bet he
other
was going
human
to
beings,
buck 15 the whole way
make a
there,
call
though.
to Jake and figure out how to get everybody on board with going, basically.
I bet you he got there in 10 minutes.
Well, apparently
I need to hear his side of this story. I need
Yeah.
him to be like, I was going 180 miles an hour on back roads.
it would seem that the Florida State Trooper that was involved probably has an idea of about how fast he was
Oh,
going.
no, he get pulled over?
No, he didn't get pulled over, but they were aware of the circumstances and they knew that life flight was called. So there was 2 troopers actually waiting out at the gate, from what I understand.
To escort him there?
I don't know if they were just doing that or if they were trying to keep everything under control, but by the time he got to the gate, I'm pretty sure they were aware of who he was because he was driving. There was no way that his father was driving by any means.
That was a whole other conversation.
Yeah. We got to the trauma center, and I remember coming out of the helicopter. The lights were ridiculously, because it was still bright and sunny outside, but I had been trapped in this freaking box flying. And as soon as we came out, I was like, holy crap. Now, oddly enough, at a trauma center, they put you in an elevator and you go to the very bottom floor instead of stopping somewhere along the way.
That is ironic as hell.
You go to the bottom floor, and when I get there, it's freezing cold because I'm still in a bikini top and a pair of shorts. I'm basically still in a bathing suit with a pair of shorts because that's what I was on the 4-wheeler with.
Right. Which is typical attire for out there.
For out
Yeah.
there, absolutely. And I mean, I had sand pretty much everywhere you could imagine sand would be.
We rolled in sand,
It's-
quite literally.
So the nurse that was there said, "What's your name?" I gave her my name. She said, "What year is it?" I gave her the year. She said, "Who's the president?" And I went, "Really?"
I just give you that. I don't watch the news, lady.
I mean,
I'm just
I
kidding.
knew who it was, but I was slightly
Just looks her in the
irritated.
face, just black.
Pretty much.
Fuck, Jake.
Basically the answer.
The president is black. My lamb
My legs are who knows what color at this point.
That's my favorite song.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm like, really? And she said, "We're just trying to make sure that your brain functions." I'm like, I made it this far. I know exactly what happened. I'm pretty sure my brain is functioning. And I hear these, what it reminded me of were, if you ever been in a grocery store where they actually still have a meat department, and you know how their
cells.
metal doors, you know, or whatever. That's what it reminded me of. So he comes in and he says, "Cut all that shit off. She's going to sleep." And I didn't wake up for 3 days.
They put you in an induced coma.
Well, yes and no. According to my daughter, who had recorded part of this on her little iPod, Jake was sitting there. I was apparently having this very natural conversation with all of them sitting in the room. I have no clue that this happened in any way, shape, or form because I was really stoned. I had
Oh
no
my
idea
gosh.
what was happening.
They had you on that good.
It was something, I tell you. But then they did my surgery, and the day that I woke up, my oldest sister was standing over top of me, and she was rubbing just the forearm. Because when I was little, it's something she would just rub my forearm. So she was doing that, and she looked down at me and she said, "Well, there you are." And unfortunately, my first response wasn't, "Oh my gosh," it was, "He's leaving, isn't he?" She said, "We're not worried about that. We're not worried about that." I said, "Okay."
He's leaving being your ex-husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
At that time, was your husband?
yes.
Yeah.
At that time, 17 years. Almost 18 years. And then the surgeon had the nerve to look old Nana in the face.
God, for people that don't know,
Love that woman.
for people that don't know, Nana has no filter.
Oh,
Haven't seen her.
no, Phil. She has not changed.
Oh, I
She's
know.
not
I'm just
changed.
saying. I knew. I know. I didn't say.
No.
I'm sure she hasn't.
She has not changed. So the surgeon looks.
Shout out, Nana.
Yeah, yeah.
If you know how to access the internet and see this,
No.
shout out.
No. Nope.
Can you imagine? I heard you was on the TV. How do I get it? What channels?
Yeah, and that's what she'd do too. She's 80 now, Ryan. So.
Somebody's
Oh,
gonna
man.
show her. Somebody's gonna show her.
Yeah.
She does have Facebook,
Oh yeah. She
kind
does.
of,
Kind of.
like
Yeah.
my grandmother does. You know.
Yeah. So this surgeon had the nerve to look that lady in the face, along with my ex, and Bubba was there, and I'm not sure if little girl was there or not, but it was in the hallway, not just outside of my room where I was at. And he said to her, well, he said to all of them, "This is what the surgery looked like. I've already red flagged her, and for those that have to deal with Social Security, a red flag virtually means the surgeon has guaranteed that your life will never change. And you virtually, the minute that you apply for Social Security disability, you get it. Along with, once you've applied for Social Security disability, if you've been red flagged, you typically automatically get Medicare as well."
Which means you're like permanently disabled.
Yeah,
What that means.
permanently.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So he basically said, "I've red flagged her," which they did not know at the time what that meant. He said,
If somebody told me that today, like not knowing your situation, if someone told me that, I would not know what that means. I'd be like,
yeah. So
I don't know what that means.
So he looked at them and he said, "Well, she has less than a 0.1% chance of ever walking again." And of course, Bubba didn't take that all too well. His father was kind of indifferent and slightly intoxicated, quite frankly, at the time of the conversation. But I don't think he understood the ramifications of that either. Whereas old Nana, she looked at the surgeon and she said, "Excuse me, sir, that is not up to you."
Sounds like something Nana would say.
And the surgeon said, "Excuse me?" And she said, "I'll let you know that there's only one that can say whether she'll walk again. And she'll walk here or there, guarantee it." And he said, "Well, if that's what you believe in."
Yeah, I mean, as a doctor, what do you say to that? Okay.
That's basically what it was.
Now you listen to your mission.
I've spent a lot of money in student loans to understand what I just did is probably going to be this way for a long
Yes,
time. I mean,
exactly.
You can't say anything with certainty. You know what I mean?
Oh, you can't say anything to Nana.
No, with certainty, that's fair. That's fair. That is.
So,
Shout out Nana.
I mean, I get what she was saying.
I mean, for her,
that's hard news to take.
Sure.
Especially because that's your mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
to hear that about your child, to be like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
I mean, I'm her only daughter.
Yeah.
I'm the only daughter that she gave birth to. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I have 4 brothers that she gave birth to. My father brought a daughter and a son into their relationship. So technically, I don't have any full-blooded siblings, if you will. Every one of my siblings, all 9 of them, are half something. Half mom, half dad, half something.
You're the only one of the 2 parents?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
I'm the only one of the 2 of them together.
Okay.
So for her, it was horrendous. I mean, it was instant heartbreak for her.
Right.
You know, this is my only daughter, and she's in a very catastrophic scenario at this point. But I call her my constant because in my entire life, anything significant that has ever happened to me, she literally has been the only person that has always and forever been there. No matter what, she stuck through it, every bit of it.
What a good parent.
Well, the whole time in the trauma center, I spent 15 days in the trauma center, and she did not leave my side.
Yep.
They transported me from Melbourne all the way to Tampa Regional, basically the rehab center over there, by ambulance, which, by the way, that was fun.
What? Tell me about that.
It was tough because
I didn't know there was a transfer.
yeah, there was a transfer. Well, the trauma center in Melbourne, they don't have a rehab facility. They have a rehab department.
They barely have a trauma center.
Yeah,
Melbourne's
yeah,
there's not much out there.
no,
There is now.
Yeah, but that's Florida in general in the past couple of years.
no. So they made the decision, and initially they wanted me to go all the way up to Atlanta to the Shepherd Center, which is by far one of the top 5, if not one of the top 3 rehab centers for adults in the entire country. Brain and spinal cord injury is exactly what they do at the Shepherd Center. There's just no way around it. Yeah. So, unfortunately, the insurance that I had at the time refused to cover a Shepherd Center visit because it was going to be at least
It was going to be costly.
a month and a half I would have to spend there. So that was a month and a half away from my kids.
In Atlanta, which is a shithole.
Just outside of Atlanta, right.
If you're like an hour outside of Atlanta, that's very nice.
Well, it depends on which county.
If you go south, it's
Also
nice.
depends in which direction.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Atlanta
that's true.
encompasses 3 out of the 4 counties in the metro area.
My cousins
Say
live
an
like
hour from Atlanta is Atlanta. You've moved 5 miles.
Well, it depends
basically.
if you're starting from the center of Atlanta or the edge of Atlanta. I'm talking about if you start from the edge of Atlanta, like going an hour south. That's where
but-
my cousins live. So from my cousin's house to get to the center of Atlanta is an hour and a half with no traffic. But
Yeah.
and that where they live is super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows everybody. Everybody goes to church. Like it's a great community there.
Yeah.
Cornfields, all that stuff.
I mean, cornfields with the white tops or...
Well, cotton fields, they have those too.
Okay.
Yeah, they have
'Cause
those
that's
too.
what I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, a lot of cotton too. Yeah.
But, I mean, ultimately, insurance said no. So the 2 options that insurance gave me were the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville or Tampa Regional, Tampa
being
Rehab,
you
which literally was the more...
do you want to drive 30 minutes or do you want to drive 6 hours?
basically. So effectively, that was the better choice.
Yeah.
So that's where they transported me. It was a 4.5 hour by ambulance because I wasn't critical, so they couldn't use lights and sirens. It was just
4.5 hours. Who the heck was driving?
Well, I honestly, okay, this is going to be really bad, but you know what? I already knew what the rest of my days were going to look like, so I really didn't give 2 craps. The 2 gentlemen that came to pick me up, if I would have had my choice, the dude that actually drove the ambulance would have been in the back with me, and the other guy would have been driving. But that's not how it worked out, and it was really bad. But that was a whole other story.
Is he good looking or something?
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't even.
I knew it.
That wasn't even.
It was a dream.
Yeah, it would have been better than the dream I had. But ultimately, yeah. So, the reason that it took so long is because Melbourne, like you said, is a shithole, and the roads are terrible in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to already give me any more injury than what I had. Clearly,
So he was trying to drive slow.
he
like
was
easy.
until he got out on the interstate. Once he got on the interstate, he put a little more metal in it. Yeah. And then once he got in,
Found the rev limiter.
Yeah. Once he got stuck at the interchange, of course, because he got stuck at the interchange.
Can you explain what the interchange is to people who don't know?
Well, you're talking about 2 major interstates that try to converge into one backwards, Basically, that's what it looks like.
Which one? The Orlando one or the Tampa one?
I think like, is it 275 and 75? Or are we talking about
No, the Tampa
Orlando?
one. Yeah, the Tampa. We cruised through Orlando perfectly fine.
So we're 275 and
275 and yeah,
I-4.
it was a
what?
disaster.
Don't they have a name for that? Isn't it malfunction?
Malfunction junction? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna, the best option when entering a major city on the only road that goes into it is have
Split
it
into
be
3.
4 lanes wide.
4 lanes wide, and only one of them.
Only
working.
2 of them are going in the direction that everybody needs to go anyway, and it makes a 90-degree turn.
And
Exactly.
one of them goes into the other interstate, and the other one, it's an exit.
and that's the exit that we
Nobody
needed.
uses except for TGH.
Literally.
That's the exit we needed and couldn't get to it.
So I literally, I took it the other day. Literally, today's, for people who are listening, today's a Friday, and I literally was on that exit on Tuesday. And I literally was like, this makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
I've lived here my entire life. I grew up a 5-minute walk from here. I literally have driven that thing so many times. I've ridden that way so many times. And still don't know what fucking lane goes which way.
They gave a 5-year-old a red crayon. Whatever you
What
draw,
direction is what
we
we're
will
doing.
make it come true.
And they wanted to increase taxes in this county. I was
Because
like,
of that.
are you fucking retarded? You guys can't handle a little money. What makes you think giving you more is going to be better? I was so... I remember they're like, oh, we're going to just put a bullet train in. I'm like... Okay, what are you gonna do when that's done? Are you gonna keep taxes up? Oh yeah, taxes never go back down; they only
Exactly.
go up. Fuck you guys.
Exactly. Yep.
Sorry, I had to
No,
go out
that's-
on that rant
only-
for a second. It makes me so mad.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, put the bullet in or help with traffic. Fuck your traffic. You guys just want more money. You have plenty of money. It's a percentage. The more people that live here, the more money you make.
Yep.
The main thing I want to know about it, why the fuck is the median bigger than
the
both
actual
sides
lane.
of the interstate put together?
Yes, exactly.
I never considered that, Jake.
It's a great
The majority
question.
of I-4 is like that.
the malfunction junction.
It's a great question. Yeah. So,
I know what to
Why
put
did
between Tampa and Orlando. 1 3-lane road.
Why don't they split?
That'll solve everything right there.
Why don't they split 275 to meet I-4 where the Hard Rock is?
Yeah. At Martin Luther King. Why not?
Yeah, that
Honestly,
would make
man.
because then everyone who's going to 275 would completely go it would alleviate so much traffic. Because how many people are in that lane going to 275? That one lane going to 275.
I mean, that backs you all the way up to
mean,
the Cracker Barrel.
I drive for a
literally
living.
people that don't know. I'm sorry, we're getting real in the weeds. On
We
this.
are.
We're very mad about the local driving
Yes.
situation.
It's terrible.
Oh, I know exactly what to do about
Yes.
it. It's the only thing that can be done.
Brush guard.
Kill everybody. I know Jake's response is going to be, we need population control.
Brush guard.
Actually, that is about what I'm going to suggest
mean-
here. Legitimately, I mean, I'm a truck driver. It's
That's
literally
why I
what I
said
do
brush
for a
guard.
living. And I truly think the only answer for all of I-4 from Daytona to Tampa is if Al-Qaeda gets the old gang back together, it just carpet bombs the motherfucker. You know what? I understand that
Talk about
Sir,
the
it's
weeds.
9:15. This
There
is the date today is
is.
9:15. 9/11 was right. Like,
Yeah, it was like
4
days ago.
that's
Can
in the
you
past.
not? Can you not?
I understand there's a percentage chance that I could be on it, and I'm willing to take it.
Wow.
Get rid of it. Now.
It would free up some space, wouldn't it? 2,000 people moving in every day.
Dude, Florida's gotten fucking bananas.
Yep, that's
It took me an hour and 45 minutes to go from Riverview to Brandon today.
See?
Took
You
me
hear
an
what I
hour.
just said?
For my
Riverview.
You have any idea what I just said?
Sir, they're neighbors.
It's the next town.
Literally.
It's the next town.
Some people would say it's the same town.
From Summerfield
I mean,
to where the Iceplex is on Falkenberg. An hour and 45 minutes.
damn.
Jake, somebody must have died. That's the only way I can think that.
Oh,
That's
that
crazy.
was me coming down here.
We drove to my doctor's office is in Tampa, by Fox 13, and I drove back home to the city where we know where we guys are. We don't need to say it, but we drove back, and what should have been with no traffic a 20-minute drive
Easily.
was an hour,
Yep.
hour and 15.
Yep.
Nothing
crazy.
around here is far away from each other at all.
No, it's not.
You can get to Orlando in 45 minutes with no traffic.
If you leave at 3 in the morning.
I mean,
There's no guarantee.
Dude, Cody and I went to look at no, who was it? I went through Orlando once at like 3 in the morning. There was nobody.
no, there's no.
There's no,
traffic.
and there was construction.
Yeah.
and
That's-
nobody.
That's the only
It's a
traffic
nice
is
place.
construction.
Dude, when you're going through it like that,
It really is. Yeah.
when you're going through it at 3 in the morning, you're like, wow, why is there not more people here? This is a good place. The Disney's here.
Yep.
We got way off on a tangent. Continue. You're
Sorry.
driving from Melbourne to Tampa.
No, I mean-
you just talked to two people who are very mad about the increase in traffic over the last 2
I agree
years.
with you.
You live in Indiana now,
Yes,
so you don't have
exactly.
to deal with
I
this.
was
You were
literally-
exactly right when you were talking about how fast Bubba was going from Hollapah to Melbourne,
that
because
didn't surprise
I
me.
rode out there with him. Like you said, I came to the hospital and everything after I learned what had happened. I was on vacation myself, but not at camp. I was fishing in Lake Kissimmee. I had no cell phone service whatsoever. The only place you have service is in the middle of the lake. If you're
I remember you telling me that.
at Camp Mac, you have no service at all. And I guess I hit some random patch as I was like driving through the camp and whatnot, and got like 50 messages, and immediately a phone call came through. It was actually Jessie, and she was telling me, you need to call Logan right now. I was like, and like the phone call failed and everything, so I just got on the bass boat and hauled ass to the middle of Lake Hatchenhaw.
Yep.
Wait, what? Like what?
Hatchenhaw.
You can't make these names
No,
up.
you can't.
Someone did one day, but you
I
can't make
mean-
them up anymore.
At the time they were made up, they were true.
It's the next lake on the Kissimmee River.
Aklawaha.
It's closer to Camp Mac.
Hatchawassee.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Masasa.
So I go there and I hear the news, and I'm like, obviously pretty distraught about it. Like, if you saw the last episode, like I said, this is Mom. And
right,
she's the one I
that's
made a
me.
wheelchair joke about. If you haven't figured that out yet,
This is also the closest person he would say is his actual mother.
100%.
Yep.
100%. And she's probably still not on the Social Security website.
Did you try it? How do you know? How do you know, Jake? How do you know? You never asked.
I don't. No, I did ask, and I still don't know.
No, you didn't ask. You didn't run her
You didn't
name by
ask-
her.
Yeah, you didn't give him my
I need
name.
to go up there and just start.
In the Russian roulette game
Rolodex.
you were playing. Well, the
I got a
problem is,
Rolodex.
here's my problem. Did you give the name Jake Suarez?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's a legit Jake
Why'd
Suarez.
they give me a card?
I mean, that's
Sir,
him.
are you sure you have the right social security number?
No.
You're doing loan applications, and this dude just checks his credit report, and he's like, I never fucking bought this. What the fuck? Jake, you're out there tanking somebody's credit score.
Jeez.
I'm waiting for somebody to steal my identity. It sucks to
Good
be
luck.
me.
No, you stole someone's identity.
You're the guy, Jake. It's you.
So it's them that sucks.
They're out there just like, LifeLock, help me out, please.
Does that even work?
I don't know.
But yeah, we
I never stole anybody's identity, nor, knock on wood, nor had mine stolen.
like she said, it's every bit of a 45-minute drive from Hong
Easily.
Kong to Melbourne, and
Easily.
me and Logan did that in every bit of 20 minutes. The red truck topped out at 135
Oh, see,
mile
yeah,
an hour.
Oh, you had the
You were
GMC
pulling
at this
old
the
time?
man.
whole
Oh, yeah.
way.
You had Tilfy?
No, it was his dad's. Actually,
It was the old man. I called
his,
it the old man.
His grandpa's old. It's a '91 GMC short single cab short bow with a 5.7 that just wants to go.
It was wide open constantly.
Yep.
And it didn't
I
matter
can't
whose foot
The
imagine.
was on it.
speedometer would come back around to let
Yeah.
you know when you're in the hundreds.
All gas pedal, no brake.
Yep,
Basically.
100%.
Yeah, 100. I can just
We're not even
imagine.
sure the brakes actually worked on it anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
Well, I can just imagine what I would do in that situation, and like a stop sign would not even be in my view. Like I would just be going and hoping that I don't hurt anybody on the way there.
Well, if
It's-
stop signs, the ones that have the white outline on them, those are optional.
Because of the white. So you're saying it's all a yield?
Suggestion.
Suggestion. Gotcha.
at that point, I mean, I'm like, if a cop's behind me trying to pull me over, I'm like, you're gonna meet me at the hospital. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, and a lot of times what you don't, I mean, in those situations, truthfully, if you're in a position where you're running interstate and the interstate is not super congested, you know, if you got a cop that does typically pull you over or try to pull you over and you have a serious whatever's happening, best case scenario, I mean, the boys did not know to do this, but you call 911. You let the
Let them
dispatcher
know.
know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll find that trooper or whoever pull out to escort you at that point. So, I was not aware of any of that because I was completely unaware after they put me to sleep in the trauma center. But like I said, to this day, I still can't remember the day before.
That's the weirdest thing
Now,
to me.
well, yeah, everybody tells me that because at the time,
Isn't it? I mean, that's super weird, right? Like the day before.
I actually drove down there. I drove my truck hauling a trailer that had the side-by-side and the generator and all the coolers on it. I literally drove my truck down there. But I can't remember it at all. Have no clue. I left from my job, went home, Bubba loaded everything. We hooked everything up and we left. I was still in my work clothes. And changed once we got to camp. And I have no recollection of any of that was told to me. I basically have no recollection whatsoever of any of that.
That's so crazy. It's crazy how the brain works.
Yeah.
Or
so
doesn't, I guess. I don't know.
Once I
That's
got
just
to
wild.
TGH, the ambulance, after 4 hours of, puttering in the back of an ambulance at this point.
From Melbourne to Tampa.
From Melbourne to Tampa.
This is 15 days later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hadn't had any kind of shower experience. Still had sand gaped in my hair.
You're shitting me.
No.
No one
No
gave you
one.
like a sponge bath or nothing?
Well, from the
Shout out Melbourne Hospital. Fuck that place.
There was one nurse.
Are you serious?
No, there was one nurse that did.
Oh my god,
Oddly
that
enough,
might be the biggest fear of mine in general, is to be covered in sand for 15 days.
It was just my hair.
Fuck
I hate
that.
sand.
Yeah.
I do too. I hate being in sand for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Let alone fucking 15 days.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Did you even get it out immediately when you got to TGH?
Well, for the most part, it was. By the time I got to TGH, the sand was still only in my hair. There was one nurse in
No,
Melbourne.
fucking pressure wash me at that point.
Well-
Get this shit off me.
That's basically what my OT, my occupational therapist, and his, that they call personal care techs or PCT. They're kind of different acronyms depending on where you're at. But when I was in Melbourne, there was one nurse. Oddly enough, believe it or not, he was what they called a floating nurse. He had come in. He was in Florida. We call them travel nurses now.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in
They
Florida.
make hella money.
Oh my God, this dude. Well, what sucked? The dude was 7 foot tall.
Fuck.
Yeah, he was 7
Can
foot
you imagine
tall.
being a nurse, like trying to bend over to someone's bed?
No, well, the beds the beds,
Not fucking 4.5 feet.
close enough, close enough that I was getting almost scared to be that high because he, like, literally,
I'm on someone's roof.
I felt like that. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
So he
7 foot tall.
he asked me. He was like, "Can you please explain to me why you still have marker, like actual marker on your legs?" I was like, "Well, I can't feel them, so I don't know." And he goes, "This shouldn't be happening." And he looked at my hair and he goes, "Wow." Like, just wow. So he asked me, do you have a problem with, being taken care of by a male nurse? I was like, look, dignity went out the window 2 days ago, buddy. So no, I don't have a problem. Why? What's going on? He said, we're going to give you a sponge bath. So he at least gave me a sponge bath. Now,
Shout
mind
out
you,
that guy.
Mind you, Nana was in the room too, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But
No, I understand.
so
It
he,
probably
Nana
felt
probably
good.
would have won too.
well, they actually gave Nana a shower space. They literally gave Nana a shower space in the bottom of the hospital.
As you're getting there, she's getting
Yeah.
undressed like, me next, me next.
Now, that's a very big possibility. I don't know. I couldn't see her because I was too far up in the air at that point. I had no clue what was going on with her, but it was a thing.
Oh, Christ.
But yeah, so he was at least kind enough to do that. The other thing that he
It had
did
to
for
feel
me-
relieving, too.
I mean,
I
for
can only
this
imagine-
half of me. Yeah, it was great. The
Right.
other half of me, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but
Right. Well, I'm just
I'm
imagining.
sorry.
I'm just imagining not taking a shower for 3 days. Like when I go hunting, I leave on a Friday night.
yeah,
Having a shower, Friday morning.
Yeah.
Friday night we leave to go hunting. I'm there all day Saturday, and then most of the day Sunday when I come back home. And that Sunday night shower is like
Is
heaven.
priceless.
Like I
Yeah.
get out of the shower and I feel like I'm like Jesus glowing at the cross.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I'm just
exactly.
like, oh.
yeah.
And 15 days though.
Yep.
And you
15
transfer hospitals, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we know you haven't got a shower in like slightly more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you've been in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And we picked you up off the
Melbourne
sand.
is nastier than the sand.
Yeah, I mean, for the most
We
part.
scraped you off the ground,
Yep.
put you in a helicopter, and it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
just like,
It was crazy. It was crazy.
can we sue?
No. Nope, we
No,
can't.
I
We
know.
I
signed
didn't know
paperwork.
that.
Yeah, what, the 15 days?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a solid 15 days. When I got
Your
to
face
Tampa,
had to feel gross.
it was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
It was like gritty, like sandpaper, basically. My face felt like sandpaper. Yeah.
I'm mad for you right now.
Well,
I know
you
I don't
know-
need to be, but I still am.
The thing for me is even that went by so quickly. That 15 days went by so quickly. But I think it was because I missed all my kids. You know, for 15 days, I didn't give two shits about anything other than seeing
Were you
the
in
face of my
pain?
children. No, they had me on some serious painkillers.
Okay.
They had serious painkillers going
When,
on.
I'm not to compare this in any way, but to say that like recently I had my tonsils removed, and like whenever I was going through that, like it was very painful, the recovery process. But the days, like you said, they flew by. But like every day, if you had asked me at any individual point, I'm like, this fucking sucks. Get me through it.
100%.
But now that looking back at it, and I'm past those recovery days, I was like, wow, this fucking. I've never had 7 days fly by so quick.
Yeah.
Even on vacation,
Yep.
it was crazy.
It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Well, because time flies by because you're just so miserable. Like you either focus on being miserable or you try and focus on anything other than being
So
miserable.
that's why
Anything
my
other.
life has been flying by for 28 and a half years.
Because you're miserable? I mean, for the first no, you don't
That
get to
makes
use
so much sense.
you
so
don't get
retarded.
to use the last 6. No, you don't get to.
You just found out who you are.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think about what 6 years. When you say 6 years ago, I'm like, 04?
I mean, okay, fine, we'll go with the last 7.
Oh, so 03.
Yeah. So you
2003,
moved in with
7 years
me.
ago. That's what goes through my head.
Yeah, when you moved in with me, you got to stop thinking about miserable, and you got to start focusing on forward. That's what that came down
Wasn't
to.
that like 8 or 9 years ago?
Okay, it'd be 9 at this point, yeah.
Wait, oh, okay.
So
I'm trying to remember what year, but it's no. I'm not in a space to do
Yeah.
math.
yeah, it's
Like
been
I said, I
20
just
it would've been
figured out-
2014.
When Jake left his
Yeah.
When Jake moved
I
in
was
with me, it was
19.
when Jake
2014.
left his house, parents' house, if you will.
Yeah, those.
Parents.
Yeah. Yeah. When Jake
Fuck
left the
this
other
shit
people's
out of
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
God, that lady could cook though.
I mean, everybody's got
Give her
their
that credit any day of the week, son.
Everybody's got
Any
their
day of the week.
strengths.
That's the only thing though.
Any day of the week. Give her that credit.
everybody's got their strengths.
Best sweet tea and pizza getty. We just have to recognize. Recognize real.
Yep. Everybody's got their strengths.
Pizza getty was the best.
I ain't lying. I've had a meal from her. It was good.
It was on God.
It was definitely good.
Yeah.
It was
But-
solid, but it's not worth it. It's not worth
That's
it.
what you have to
You win
decide.
some, you lose some.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's not worth it.
You win some.
It
you lose
wasn't
some.
worth the crazy.
It's-
Okay.
And that's for me that was the same thing. I had to focus.
I
on
didn't even realize how life altering it was going to be. Like I said, it's my-
Being in a
the mind,
normal
like,
cock. No, I'm sorry.
Right,
Never
19
mind. I'm
years
not gonna
old.
talk
That.
shit. It's not my place to talk shit. It's not. I have no weight to talk shit in this about your life.
Go ahead.
No, I was like,
Try me.
no, this isn't about you. I'm like, you move in with like a normal family. You're like, why are you being nice to me right now?
The first question she asked, I hadn't even gone to bed in the house yet.
Yep.
The first question she asked, so what do you want to do? And I looked at her like,
What the hell's wrong with you, woman?
never heard those words.
You tell me.
That's basically it.
What do you mean? What do I want to
Yeah,
do?
that's supposed to be your job. You're supposed to tell me that.
I've never even thought of that.
I've always been controlled.
Yep.
I was so confused. And I had to learn my way. And you let me learn my way.
That's what has to happen.
Jake, what do you want for breakfast? Oh,
No, I know how to answer that. Biscuits and gravy?
Those are the easy parts.
it doesn't taste like my previous mom.
What extra spice did you put in this?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hate. That's what.
I'll have crystal hot sauce with a side of biscuits and gravy.
Right.
Yes.
Oh man.
The downside to living at my house was that Nana was doing the majority of the cooking, so a lot of times it was let's eat out.
Pop-Tarts. I remember having
mean,
Pop-Tarts a
That's right,
lot of
all-
times
all
at
the
your
time.
There
house.
was
Yes.
no downside to living with Nana for me. It was nothing but entertainment. It was fucking
actually true.
amazing. Like other people get annoyed with her, whatever. I came home one morning because I worked the night shift at Steak and Shake.
Yep.
So
Jake from Steak and Shake at 3 in the
Yes.
morning?
At 3 in
that's
the
right,
morning.
Jake from Steak and Shake, baby. That place has gone downhill since I
It
left.
didn't. It was downhill when you were there too. You just didn't recognize.
No, I kept pretty up there, son. You know, I mean, you show up between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
I just want to share my
Getting
favorite.
served.
My favorite memory of showing up late night at Steak and Shake was you came up and you were our server and you're like, Ryan, what do you want? I'm like, what the fuck you asking me for? You know what I want.
You know what I want.
I was same weight as you. I was fucking 300 pounds. I said, you know what I want. Make me fatter.
All the grease.
I looked
sir.
at you and said, okay.
I'm not even gonna take your order. I'm telling you what you're gonna. You went full your mom.
Yeah, basically.
Here's what you're getting.
There's one thing I know how to do. It's eat.
And that shit was a boss. Can you
I still know exactly what it was.
please? I need it on record in case I ever
Well,
need to
I don't
find it
think they
again.
have the Cajun cheeseburger anymore.
I don't care. Just
But
tell
they
me what
do
it
have
was.
the
Tell me what
garlic.
I ate. Tell me what I ate.
It was a garlic double steak burger with cheese, but add the Cajun seasoning from the Cajun steak burger with the garlic on the bun, and then you have the garlic aioli and ranch on the inside. And I probably added something like tomato and onion because that's what I had to add to my burgers.
And Cajun fries.
It's the aioli. It's
Oh.
always the aioli.
I just remember
That
it was
combination.
fucking delicious.
Yeah.
Together.
And then it cost me $5 too because Jake was like, "Oh, you never ordered fries."
Oh,
My friends.
He had a water to drink because I'm drinking a large milkshake.
that sounds right.
And tip him $20 because he gave me a $40 meal.
That's how I made my money.
At
But I'm
2
gonna
in the
sue
morning.
you now. Steak and Shake. Ugh.
Oh no, they figured that out.
We got away with it for a hot minute.
2.5
though.
years later.
You were their best. Most of the continuing business came for you.
Yes.
I had people who would show up, and if they didn't see my truck in the parking lot, they would either go through the drive-through or just fucking leave.
That's me.
That sounds right.
I had like a lot of people that did that.
Yeah.
Like they knew I was the overnight server 5 days a week. That's the time to come because they're gonna get the best. Like
Which is ironic because when I go to Steak and Shake, I expect the worst.
Typically.
now,
yeah,
now without
all the
you
other
working-
servers are good-looking girls and everything, and they make you
not on the night shift.
look. I ain't nothing to look at, but you gonna get a good meal.
You're gonna get
You're gonna
goddamn
get taken
quick.
care of. Your drink's gonna be full. You're gonna get everything you asked for. Yeah.
Yep.
A little extra something. Milkshake instead of water.
So Nana, tell me about.
I come home one morning, and a lot of the times, like I would take her daughter, who I consider my little sister. Like I said,
Yep.
like I considered myself family to them
100%.
before I even
You basically were
Yeah.
because you and Logan basically. Well, to people who don't know, Logan is Bubba. And Bubba, you guys grew up together.
not necessarily grew up together. We met on the golf team
Yeah.
for Strawberry Crest
Strawberry
High. I know
Yep.
we were
Really?
awesome. We were really cool. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Just drowning in it. Yeah.
It's hilarious too. 'Cause you guys are both fucking hillbillies.
I was going into.
you know what I mean? Playing golf. You guys are like the most non-pictured people. It's like you guys were on the fishing team,
They were a whole different version of the country club.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some rich kid, some rich family's kid who's like playing golf. He's like,
What the hell is that?
I was going into junior year. He was
watch
going
this drive,
into
motherfucker.
freshman year.
You guys were like Bush when during 9/11 stuff. He's like we're gonna kill the Saudis. Watch this drive.
Sir, there's a disaster in New Orleans. Go away. I'm reading comics. You were terrible.
I would have never guessed you guys met on the. I just learned that today, right now.
Yeah, we met in high school.
No,
he was
On the
going
golf
into
team.
freshman
No,
year.
in my mind, you guys knew each other in pre kindergarten.
No, we hit it off pretty quick. I guess.
Clearly.
I guess the very first time he met me, he thought I was going to be like a big bully and beat him up. I guess that's
No, you just found out
Happened a couple
he found out
times.
you were just big.
and retarded.
He's in regular classes? Sir, how did you get to school today? I drove. I'm like, wow, they let the retards drive?
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I literally view Logan as like my brother type of deal. You know, just very family.
You guys have had that relationship, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For a long time.
Yes.
Dude, like I said, like it's,
As long as I've known you guys,
yeah,
which is since high school.
yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of how it went, almost
Yeah.
immediately, really.
Yep.
And then I called her mom since the first time I met you.
Her son.
That
To be fair,
stuck.
though, most of my friends, we all call each other's moms mom
Yeah.
unless they're completely psychopaths.
Poison Kane. That's pretty much it.
But when I moved in with them, it was obviously like a much bigger significant. Like
What caused you to move in with them? You had to follow
I was
out?
living with crazy.
And decided we were less crazy. But then he met
Hey,
Nana.
can I have a stable home? This old lady said, sorta.
That's exactly what it was. She said sorta.
I would come home from school
How's 80%?
and Nana be watching the news. Nana watching the news could have been a TV show in itself.
Easily.
Like
That's a whole clip right there.
Yes.
I would come home.
Nana watching the news
Yep.
could be a TV show because
She-
I know that someone's got a grandmother somewhere. It's like, what the
Yep.
what?
She'd be in the recliner watching TV, and I'm on the couch watching her,
Yes. This is the thing.
and we're both being entertained.
Yes.
I came home one morning. She has the newspaper in her hand. You know where I'm going
Yep.
with this.
Yep.
She hands it to me, and she goes, "Did you say this?" And I look at it, and it's
I love the accent he just did.
local
Close.
high
It's
school
very close.
senior prank. They hung a deer from the flagpole outside of the school. And I was like, oh. Like,
He's laughing.
And she comes up to me. She snatches the newspaper and slaps me with it. She goes, that is not funny. Which sent me into crying on the floor.
It's not even funny what they did. What's funny is her response.
Yep.
It was pretty funny what they did, at least to me. Like,
No, nothing beats your senior prank. The blow up dolls in the pond.
that was 2011 or 2012. That wasn't my
you were
class.
2013. Okay,
My
so
class didn't
it was
do
my freshman
shit.
year. It was my freshman year. It would have been your junior year.
So it was
Yeah,
2012.
2012.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, they put a
So-
14-foot John boat in the pond, which, by the way,
The pond is right next to the interstate.
Interstate.
it's between the school and the interstate.
The interstate that we were talking shit about 20 minutes ago.
Yes.
is 100 foot from the school with a pond separating them.
And there's blow up dolls.
14-foot John boat with like 40 blow-up dolls.
No, it wasn't 40 blow up dolls. It was 40 dildos with 2 blow up dolls.
Is that what it was?
If I
I thought it was
remember
about
right,
blow-up dolls.
it was 1 or 2 or 3 blow up dolls, but they were named, like they had written the names of our assistant principals on the
On the
blow
blow-up
up dolls,
They totally
Yep.
deserve
and then
it, too.
filled it full of dildos too.
Yep. Yep.
Because if you remember right, there is one AP at that time that will go unnamed. Because I know you're. The
Oh
name
my-
is humming, and people like there's people who listen to this that know Jake. That name, they're like, oh, that's Miss. Yes, you're 100% right.
Everybody who went to Crest knows exactly who you're talking about.
Because she is long gone, but
From the school system.
really.
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's on the
Yes.
news. You can
Yeah.
Google that. Fox 13. Yeah, but.
Basically.
And yeah, that's the biggest thing I remember. That was hilarious.
Yeah, my class didn't do shit. They put the trash cans on the roof. I'm like, you could have at least thrown them in the pool that's on the roof.
We didn't
The hell's
even
wrong
use
with
the
you?
trash can. There's not a pool. Shut the fuck up.
The school that had the best senior prank my year was Durant,
Durant.
without a doubt.
Yep.
They-
Would they hang a deer from it?
No.
No.
I think they might have done better than that. They stole the mailbox from the assistant principal's house.
That's a felony.
Nailed it. Well, actually, it's a felony to open it. This doesn't mean they opened it.
I'm pretty sure I don't have Colton here to Google this, but I'm pretty sure tampering with a United States Post Office box in any way is a felony.
Is a felony.
That's why you can't hit it
That's
with a
neither
mailbox.
here nor there.
If you hit a mailbox with a fucking baseball bat, even if it stays closed, it's still a felony.
But they stole the AP's mailbox, nailed it into the center of the courtyard, and tied a fucking alligator to it.
Good luck, buddy.
That's the most Florida thing ever.
That's great.
Oh my god,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yep, for sure.
I wanted to put cows upstairs.
Because they don't go downstairs, but they'll go upstairs.
Right. That'd be pretty decent.
There was an elevator at Crest, so
We broke that. I was in it when we broke it.
I just remember the condom that was in it for forever. That's the only thing I remember.
Who
Yep.
uses those things?
Elevators.
Condoms. Or both at once.
Shout out Jake, he's a dad.
Yeah, I was gonna say clearly.
That's not a condom commercial. I don't know.
Episode 64 of the podcast, Jake will talk about where his kid was conceived. So,
Open book. But it's an interesting story. It's quite fun.
so you're in Tampa General.
That's where my kid was born.
And you as well.
That's where I was born.
You were, right off the port.
Allegedly, that's where I was born. If I was born.
If you were born at all, because you might not be real.
You don't even know who your parents are, dude. Shut the fuck up.
You sure you were even born in that room?
Jesus.
Nope.
I don't even
Nope.
know where to pick up at this point. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm emotionally exhausted at this point.
Let mom reel it back in.
Yes,
There we
please
go.
do.
There we go.
Whew, I need a sense of
Mom fixed everything.
I need a
I
parental
try.
sense at this point, and Jake's not going to do it.
He's still learning.
I'm the worst.
Nah, you're not quite the worst. I can think
I'm
of a
gonna be
few others.
such a bad dad.
No, you're not. You have better guidance now.
You're the best dad. You
I
just know.
find too much shit funny.
The problem is, Jake, you don't. It's not that you know what to do. You know exactly what not to do, which is way more important.
That's way more important.
That is true.
He's absolutely
That
right.
is true. But a
absolutely
lot of times I can't help myself either.
Well, the difference there, though, is that
How are wheelchair jokes not funny?
see?
Can you? Okay, all right. So this is the point of the podcast. I need you to show off your shirt.
Oh.
Can you please show to the camera
Beautiful.
that you wore a
Great
shirt that
timing.
says "Walking on Sunshine"
Walking on sunshine.
specifically for the podcast? What does it say on the back?
It says "Walking on Sunshine" in bigger letters, and it has a pair of cowboy boots on it.
The sense of humor is perfect.
I mean, if you don't have a sense of humor, what do you have?
To be fair, and I make the best and the most wheelchair jokes today,
That's true.
I didn't make them for the longest. I was the last person to do it.
Also true.
I hate it when people made them. Like,
It made me uncomfortable the last
It-
podcast when you
it
made
made
them.
me
I literally was
mad.
like, Jesus Christ, should I edit this out?
I used to get mad at it.
Yes.
And then one day I just cracked one.
Yep.
And it's been...
Ever since.
Don't forget the 9/11 jokes you made.
That felt really good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean,
That person.
exactly.
Did I just get the pass to say the N word? That's essentially what you
It's
just.
basically what it is. Yes.
No, that's not what that is.
I mean,
I mean, a little different, but I mean, it's the same vibe. You know what I mean? Carries the same weight.
it's basically if you're going to, I don't know, one of the support groups for SCI, you're allowed to walk in there because you have the acceptance and the approval of someone in the SCI community. Make as many jokes as you
What's
like.
the SCI? What does that mean?
Spinal cord injury,
Yeah.
which I learned at Tampa Journal. So, but yes, if you don't have humor, this becomes very daunting.
Right.
And the pain itself, it becomes very painful. I mean, it's pain all the time anyway. Depends on where the break is.
What do you mean?
So you have 3 different levels of the use of your spine, basically cervical being the neck, if you will, to the shoulder. The thoracic is just underneath the cervical that runs down to the hip bone, basically. or just above the hip bone. You have the lumbar just slightly after that. And then you have the coccyx, which is basically the 2 vertebrae that lead into the tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
Or they call it the sacrum, something like that.
Basically, your low back, low back, and then your
tailbone.
back, and your neck.
Pretty much, yeah. So the fear for my injury, knowing what my accident looked like, was the way that I landed in the sand was, okay, there's probably some damage to the neck. But when I came to and I was able to communicate and move eyes and lift the chin and all that, Brian knew that there was no damage to the neck, but he was still required to put me in the neck brace regardless for transport and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they did the portable X-ray oddly enough, in the helicopter, which was really cool. Portable X-ray in a helicopter.
That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. It's not a huge piece of machinery anyway. They can actually bring them now into your hospital room at this point and do portable X-ray right in your hospital room. So they did the portable X-ray at least up here, and they could tell that there was not...
People that aren't watching, she's referring to like the middle of the back.
Basically, yeah. They call it the thoracic space. What they did find doing that, though, was that I had 9 broke ribs on one side and 6 on the other.
From that accident?
From the accident.
Oh, shit.
And they found 1 repaired rib fracture that was aged. Yeah. So they got me to the hospital, basically was explaining the what to the nurses and so on when they were taking me down in the elevator. We know that this, and this. So I think that was the biggest reason why when the doc come busting in, it was like, just cut all that shit off. She's going to sleep. He already knew what part of the problem was. And the fact that I had no sensation whatsoever from my hip bones down, it was clear that there was something wrong. They basically found through multiple MRIs and multiple CAT scans that I had what they call a burst fracture. The burst fracture meant that I had 1 vertebrae that was entirely had exploded inside my body. And then I had 1 that was cracked. The fact that there was only 2 of those that were damaged was crazy with everything. I mean, like I said, I weighed 97 pounds and a 700-pound four-wheeler laying on top of me.
Going. Like, not just, like with speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the fact that, they only found those few things. Now, the ribs were clearly going to be broken because I picked a fight with a four-wheeler and lost. Mm-hmm. But the fact that only 2 of my vertebrae suffered damage was just insane. So when they did my surgery in Melbourne, the surgeon, the only thing that they could do was they found all the bits and pieces of the bone, the vertebrae that had exploded in my back. They took the largest piece that they could find, and they used what they call a body bondo. And around that big piece of bone, they recreated my vertebrae using that body bondo and put it back in place. And then they caged it, if you will, with 2 metal brackets, 2 metal rods, 2 brackets across the rod, and then 8 nuts and bolts to put it in place. And that'll be with me for the rest of my life. I don't have a choice. It's not coming out. If I still had all of the vertebrae intact, they could eventually take that out if it were possible. But in my case, because they had to recreate a false vertebrae, it can't come out.
Right.
Spinal cord injury is very different depending on where the break is. Mm-hmm. If it's a higher break up in the chest area, there's a possibility of things going even more wrong than what I have. Mm-hmm. There's a situation called autonomic dysreflexia. They refer to it as AD. AD could kill you. It basically is a situation where your internals start to spasm so much that your blood pressure rises to the point that you stop breathing and your heart stops.
Because your organs are like halfway down.
They're freaking out basically, and you can't feel a lot of what's happening.
No shit, I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, there's so many things that you don't know until you know. I mean, what's the old saying? You just don't know until you know.
Mm-hmm. Tell Nana.
Basically. That's pretty much it.
The worst one that I would like, if you told, like for people to understand, like something I learned from your process is that you still feel all
the nerve pain.
The pain.
Yep.
Like it's not like you can.
Well, basically what they explained to me, by the time I got to Tampa General and in the rehab center, so the whole shower thing, right? Mm-hmm. I couldn't move my legs on my own, clearly. Mm-hmm. I also had to have a catheter for the first 2 days, which clearly I couldn't. And the nurse that came in to put the catheter in, again, another big dude.
Jesus.
Yeah. But shout out to Big Mike because that's what everybody called him, was Big Mike. And when they say big, he's probably like 6'3", but I mean, the dude was just mass, like he was a brute. And he walked in and he said, "I don't mean to intimidate you." And he was completely bald. He said, "And if you would prefer a female nurse come in, I can get that for you." He said, "But he held up the catheter and he said, it's time to cath." And he kind of looked at me and said, "You okay with that? Because it's damn near the middle of the night." And I was like, dude, like I told the other guy, dignity's out the window at this point. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So
you get paid to do this job.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what a lot of people in that facility didn't know, because none of them had met Nana.
Sorry, I just
It's
pictured
the
it
truth.
in my head.
Okay. So Nana, of course, starts to tell Big Mike how to do his job, because Nana spent my entire life in nursing homes and places like that.
I never would have guessed this part of the conversation.
Absolutely not. Never. So Nana basically tells Big Mike, "Look, if it's that big of a deal, I can start doing this." And I'm like, well, she did used to change my diapers, for crying out loud, so what the hell's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Well, we'll have to clear it with her doctor. As long as her doctor is okay with it, then sure." So Nana basically took over my cathing the entire time I was in TGH.
I'm scared for you in this conversation. I know it went okay, but I'm just letting you know.
I mean,
It's scary.
it went okay. It's just that some people got irritated because Nana would tell them to go to hell, basically.
I can imagine that. I can
That's what it boiled down to.
picture that. That is not okay to laugh at, Jake.
It's very funny to laugh at.
No, I'm talking about that's
What?
what you said earlier when she said, "Look what they did."
Yeah.
That is not okay to laugh at.
Yeah.
I laugh at anything that woman says.
So she basically takes over this process, right? So they were explaining to me, because I couldn't move my legs, showering was going to be a lot different. Because I couldn't move my legs, all these things in my life were going to change. And oh, by the way, that pain that you're feeling, it's never going to go away. And it's not pain. I can't feel well, so my doctor comes in. The first time I ever met this woman, she walks in. She did all of her rounds in the middle of the night, like 10 o'clock at night. And she was a very cool old school doctor. She walks in with the regular old white big old doctor's coat on. She had her old school nursing hat on. And she comes in and she said, "Hi, my name's, Dr. Hayes, blah, blah, blah." And she said, "You're my new girl." And I was like, "Okay, I'm your new girl." And I'm wide awake at this point because they still had me on, plenty of drugs. And she said,
Your Pink Floyd's playing in the back of your mind at this
pretty
point.
much. I mean, and Nana's laying there watching the news.
So you're being entertained.
Basically.
So it's better to be high as a kite. Watching Nana just watch the news. Like,
Something like that, yes.
Shane Gillis's joke is like my favorite thing ever is to watch my dad watch the news.
Yes. See?
It's a whole thing.
So she walks in, "Hey, I'm Dr. Hayes." She gives me this whole spiel, and she said, she started doing the whole check. "Can you feel this? Can you feel this? Can you feel this?" So
You've probably been tired of asking that question at that
so
point.
many times.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. So she gets to my kneecap, and she said, "Can you feel this?" And I was like, the only thing I felt was that you tapped so hard that I can feel it in my bones, basically, because you hit my kneecap so hard. I said, "If you're asking if I could feel it on my skin, no. The answer is no." And she went, "Dang it, I knew I forgot something." And I was like, "What?" She said, "My ice pick." What? I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Well, yeah, if you can't feel anything else, I might as well try an ice pick, right?" And then she starts laughing because it's a joke, right? I'm
Oh
like,
shit!
Holy
I just went straight
hell.
Ricky Bobby. Where he stabs
Yeah.
himself in the leg.
Well, that's what she that's literally what she said. Apparently she watches. Okay, so 'cause she said, "If you want a good joke moving forward from now on, that's what you tell him. Do you want to figure out how much of it I can feel? Here's a steak knife. And see what people do with it." Because the likelihood is none of them is going to try to stab you with it.
That's 100%
Clearly.
chance. 100% chance nobody stabs you.
So I was like,
You're still stabbing a person if you can't feel it. That's still a felony.
it's still...
I mean, it'd probably mess you up in the mind
In the
for the rest of
brain?
your life. I wouldn't worry about the legal problems afterwards.
I just
mean, I would
stabbed
still worry
somebody.
about
Oh
the
my
legal
God.
problems.
Yeah.
I know you stole somebody's identity, but still, I would be worried about the legal
Yes.
It was an
ramifications.
accident.
Was it though? Really? Come on.
I was a baby.
They pulled the picture that pulled up at the Social Security website. Some Spanish dude. They're looking at you, looking at the Spanish dude, looking at you. Like, I don't even understand how you're here right
Why are
now.
you asking this question?
Do we call the cops? I'm for sure this is identity theft.
The culprit is my 4-month-old self.
Yes.
That bastard.
That's right.
Son of a bitch.
So basically, yes, she then explained to me the nerve pain that Jake's referring to. That even though I don't have sensation to the touch, and I don't have the capability of moving my legs, so I have no motor and no sensory is what it's referred to as. Motor being clearly the part of moving. And then sensory, the feeling and sensation on the skin. I have neither one of those. However, what I do have, my consolation prize, is that
So fucked up.
no matter what happens for the entire rest of my life, my toes all the way up to just above my hips, and if I don't take my medication properly, all the way up to the middle of my shoulder blades, which I can feel clearly all the way up there, but the pain travels so drastically. My feet swell to the point, my legs actually in general, they feel like they're swelling to the point they're going to explode. Like all the time.
Jesus.
Every
Isn't it
single day.
comparative to that feeling when, like, you're taking a shit for way too long and leaning on your legs way too long
That
on your
is-
phone and
Yes.
they completely fall
They
asleep?
completely, and then when they start to wake up,
That pain.
that pain is all the time. Yes.
You're shitting me.
No. 24/7.
Yeah, I was
all the
mind
time.
blown when I heard this, bro.
You're shitting me.
24/7.
And I guess all paralyzed people.
And depending on where the break is, it becomes sometimes it gets worse.
I could be
Like-
wrong, but
No. Most all well, it depends on the damage to the spinal cord. There are some people that have paralysis because their spinal cord was simply stretched. Most of the time, they don't have actual nerve pain like mine. There are some people that their spinal cord is completely severed. They have no pain whatsoever. It's just that their legs don't work at all. In my case, my spinal cord was nicked. When that bone exploded in my back in 3 different spots, almost 1, 2, 3, just like that, it nicked my spinal column and then nicked the cords. So when they cut me open, they found out that I was leaking spinal fluid out of those 3 spots. So they actually had to put cadaver skin over those 3 holes to close up my spinal column.
To keep it what it
tube,
was.
so that I wasn't leaking
At a certain
fluid.
point, shouldn't they just have severed it?
well, that's exactly what I was about to ask.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, do you want to feel like you just got up from a 45-minute shit for the rest of your life, or do we want to just stop?
Right.
that?
If there was a 0.1% chance or less of you walking again, how is the answer not to just cut it and
There's no guarantee
get rid
that
of the
that'll work.
pain?
There's no guarantee that that'll work.
I don't
guarantee.
understand science. This is why I work in finance. I'm real good with the maths.
Yeah, I suck at the math, so
I have to
I
piss so bad right now. Can we pause for a pee break and more beer?
Somehow we're adults.
Fadeaway Barbershop, Plant City, Florida, 1705 James Redmond, whatever it is.
Okay.
I'm keeping all of this in the podcast too.
No, don't do that.
shout out the barbershop that's going to be paying for the alcohol.
Well, we've
for this.
shouted them out like 5 times now, but let's do it officially.
it's a great job.
Give it a.
We would like to take this time to shout out Fadeaway Barbershop in Plant City, Florida. You can go see them at 1705 James L. Redmond Parkway or Highway 39.
Walk-ins welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys
How do we
for
find them?
sponsoring
They
the
have-
alcohol for this podcast.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, buddies.
Michelob Ultra for the win.
Absolutely.
Jake,
100%.
on that note, I got you another beer.
Thank you, sir.
Seriously, I get my haircut there. Going tomorrow. Jake needs a haircut. He said no one's ever cut his hair right, and I'm like,
He's
okay, you
gonna
need to
make
go
an
to my
appointment.
barber shop.
Yes.
So that's next. So great place to get a haircut.
And I live on the entire other side of the country, so clearly I can't make an appointment.
It's right down there.
You can make an appointment. It's going to be inconvenient for you to make it. But
Are they wheelchair friendly?
No, because how she's going to walk in?
Exactly, because you did say walk-ins welcome.
nothing about wheel-ins.
You should not fall out of your chair because I can't pick you up. This is not a convenient
Likewise,
place.
you should not fall out of your chair.
Well, that's true, but at least you two could pick me up, for crying out loud.
Oh my Christ.
He had nothing to do with it, I promise.
Thank you, Mr. Apex from Fadeaway Barbershop.
Thank you, buddies.
I am
They're delicious.
overstimulated.
Clearly.
Oh, I'm because what people don't know that are just watching this podcast is we have been talking for like 2 hours before we started recording a podcast. Where I was like, at a certain point, I had to be like, okay, we need to stop and we need to migrate into the podcast.
You know how much
studio.
content we just wasted?
I mean,
Oh, it's so good.
It's always a good time.
when you're on a roll.
Every time. Me and Ryan actually barely talk on the phone with each other. Number one, we hate each other. Number two,
Yeah, there's that.
I just snotted a little bit.
Keep that to yourself.
I've tried. That's why I turned away. Sorry, Jake. What do we do?
every time we get into any conversation, we're like, well, I mean, you started a podcast. Like, this honestly was content. Like,
Yeah.
this should have been recorded. Like,
Yeah, I called you yesterday, and you were like, "Oh, we gotta save this for a podcast." I'm like, Jake, we've never had a problem with this before. We're always gonna be able to talk shit. It's just a bunch of Family Guy references, Talladega Night references, and then we just laugh at, or it's inside jokes that no one else gets, but we get way too well.
Yes. Any
good
reference
time.
to wheelchair jokes now are completely acceptable and expected. So,
very good.
So
9/11's next, baby.
I mean, that's a little bit pushing it, buddy.
Just call Pete Davidson up and be like, "Hey, I know your dad died, but am I okay? Do I get a pass?"
No, absolutely not.
Oh man, you sent me like 7 memes on 9/11.
Yep.
Of 9/11.
Yep. Well, what other day am I going to do it on?
9/10,
9/12?
maybe? 9/10, maybe 9/12. Maybe just anytime you find one that you think is funny.
I
No,
mean-
it's the same ones every year.
He's just pulling them from his history, that's all.
And the day that Aaron Rodgers got hurt for the season,
That was priceless.
the worst thing that ever happened in the state of New York involving Jets was on 9/11.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
It's been long enough. You got to joke about stuff.
See, that's what I said, like,
They're dead. There's
the
no
month
changing
after my
that.
accident. I mean, it was a month later, and that's what I said. It's been long enough. It's time to joke about it.
Yeah.
So is
It
that
took
how
me
long?
a couple years, at least.
It did. It
It
really
took
did.
me. It's been 10 years now.
And you're finally coming
Today.
around. I mean, we're getting
Today.
there. You
Yeah.
know, it's. I'm trying to be a little over pushy
Yeah.
to get you to.
No, I'm there
Take
now.
everything seriously. You're going to be a miserable fuck.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you don't want to upset the person. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so I'll give you a perfect example of that.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be like, mullets are gay while I'm talking to Jake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's clearly got a mullet. That's insensitive of me to do that. I'm a person who cares about how Jake feels.
Right
you know
now,
what I
I'm
mean?
offended.
If you started making mullets are gay jokes, I'd be like, everyone thinks that.
So, when I went to my first day of 6th grade, McLean Middle School, by the way, if you know anything about that school,
There's
let's
so many
let's
jokes.
just
I know
say
you went there. That's about it.
I was out of place.
Yep,
I was very, very out of place.
Can you
very much so.
I immediately know what that means, but can you explain?
I
more?
learned so much my first 2 days at that school. It's not even funny. And it was nothing that I ever wanted to learn. Number one thing I learned is about 5 minutes after stepping onto campus, the N-word. Learned that.
See, the
Had
way we
never
addressed
heard it
that,
before in my life.
You were how many pieces of salt in the entire Pepper campus?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Minimal.
yeah.
I mean,
Basically, what Jake's saying and hasn't said is he was the only white kid in a whole all black school.
black. There were a few of us. There,
Not the way to say
there were
that,
a few of
Jake.
us that were all out of place. So I go home.
Just pictured something.
I go home that
can't repeat
evening.
it.
I mean, I heard this word that I had never heard of. And keep in mind, I went to karate school starting the first day of 4th grade, ran by black people with a bunch of black people. I had never heard that word before, ever. First day of 6th grade, I heard about 300 times. I go home, I say, "Hey, Dad, what does this mean?" I said, I didn't know it was a bad word. I heard it. He slaps him on the back of the head. He goes, "Don't ever say that again." I was like,
Now you say it all the
well,
time.
that didn't answer my question.
Because it was what does it
And
mean?
now it's a comma for you.
Go to school the next day. We're not even in first period yet. I'm hearing it left and right. I go to the first person I hear. I'm like, what's that mean? They're like, what does what mean? I said, well, yeah, that word you're saying starts with the N. I was told I can't say it. The guy looked at me. He goes, yeah, you can't say that, white boy. And I looked this dude up and down. I was like, white boy? I was so confused.
What you don't know
I
is
need a dictionary. How do you spell it?
what we're saying hard, but not maybe yes.
I
two
heard
of those
both
not.
versions, without a doubt. I heard both versions.
I mean, it's
And everybody
unfortunately-
tries to bully you, and you go to, middle school especially, and especially school like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, kids would come up to me left and right and try and pick on me for being fat. I've always been huge, morbidly obese, sixth grader. I had to lose weight. I lost 50 pounds in sixth grade to be 220. I'm not joking. Might have been 60 pounds. Like, I was fat.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier, the person who legally stole you cooked so well that anybody that had grown up the same way as you would have been the same way.
Well, I was also addicted to sweet tea. Like, it was crack cocaine. A gallon a day minimum.
I'm going to start this conversation. Also, the person who legally
There we go.
stole
I was gonna
you
say, can we just
made,
repeat?
They made
Oh,
all
yeah, I
of
guess
the
that's
thing.
true.
Everything they made was
Yes.
delicious,
Yes.
including sweet tea.
Yes.
She was giving you literally liquid sugar in a brown liquid form.
Well, when you consider what that does, that keeps Jake at home.
I guess I was weird.
You are not weird.
No, nothing's changed, Jake. You're still.
Oh well, I mean,
I was out of the order. Everybody views bullying as a super bad thing. And bring it on. Bring it on. These kids would get so confused. They'd come up to me, "Hey, fat boy, oh, what's up?" I'd be like, "Yeah, what's up?" One of them literally asked me that time, like, "Dude, we're always calling you fat. You don't react to it." I was like, y'all are the dumbasses. I have a mirror at home that I get ready in front of every day.
I get it.
Like,
Tell me-
I know I'm fat. Why am I going to get mad at you calling me fat?
When I was really overweight, I was like, "There's nothing you can say that's worse than what I say to myself."
100%.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Yep.
Anything you can say is a mild version of what I said to myself on the first day that I thought it. Am I wrong?
You are useless. You are worthless.
Literally. I'm like, and you're telling me this stuff, and I'm like, oh, thank God. They think it's less bad than I thought.
at least I'm not alone.
They haven't thought half of what I thought.
Try pushing yourself around.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're getting pushed around by your. I do it myself.
So funny.
I mean, sometimes. Did you just get it?
We pushed you over here.
That's true. Oh, the bridge. I couldn't.
The bridge is dope, right?
That's
Right as
excellent.
bridge.
Y'all did a great job.
Right as bridge.
Y'all did a
I
great
played
job.
almost no part in that. I would say negative parts in it, actually. I probably slowed it down.
So you're saying that's Cody's bridge?
He welds, so yeah. He welded it all together. And
He welded a wooden bridge.
well, it's only wood where you step, actually. The entire frame of it's metal.
I don't know this.
That makes sense.
You didn't see the handrails made out of giant steel pipes.
Why would I pay attention to that?
It's fair. You were pretty occupied.
Pushing his mother around.
See.
He's good at that.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I mean, I'm kind of used to it now. 10 years worth of getting pushed around. I mean, technically.
Well, no, it's a lot longer.
It's a lot.
How long did you say you were married to your ex-husband for? Add that on to the 10.
Look, I filed for divorce, literally turned the paperwork into the Plant City Courthouse on our 19th wedding anniversary.
And your accident happened on the 17th.
Yes.
You guys were married for 17 years at that time.
Yes. And when I turned that paperwork in, I took a screenshot of it and sent it to him and said, "Happy anniversary."
So 29 years she's been being
That's-
pushed around.
Dude, the
Roughly.
balls that you have to do that, I'm just saying.
Well, she wouldn't feel him if she did have
That's
him.
right. But the good thing is
She's got
that
bigger balls than me. It
I-
doesn't matter if I can feel
I
mine or
have bigger
not.
balls than all of y'all.
That's
I
what I'm
carry
saying.
mine up top, so.
Listen. Can you throw them over your shoulder? Can you tie them in a knot?
I mean, I'm not
balls
quite
are-
there yet, but I'm I'm getting old, so. Not exactly to that point, but hey, At some point, we're not all Nana just yet. So you got to keep that. Don't you
Please
dare.
don't spit take.
That is not funny.
Hey, I can't be all mean. Nana just had her second knee replacement. She is
That woman's a trooper.
You know what? You know what?
Still working.
For as intense as she is, it's because she cares.
yeah. Well, I mean,
She'd give you the shirt off her. Well,
We don't want that.
I wouldn't want it, but she'd give you the shirt off her back.
we don't want that to happen. But yes.
If you needed it,
Yeah.
if you know,
Dish towels and all. It's a hard pass, but
she's a sweet lady.
she
sweet
tries
lady.
to be.
You know the amount of times she's reached out to me on Facebook. Back before when I
Please tell me
actually
you
used
didn't
Facebook.
answer.
Oh, of course I didn't answer. I'm not crazy.
Checking.
You fucking
But I was like,
jackass,
I would like
bro.
see it. I'm like, oh, this is a sweet
Dude.
gesture from her. I'm gonna ignore it completely, but
Because
this
I
is
don't
a
want
sweet-
spam all over my
This is a
page.
sweet gesture, exactly.
Yeah. You don't have a choice. You really don't have a choice, but Ryan has a choice.
I have a choice.
And worst case scenario, he says, Mom, should I do that? No. The answer is no. Just
Leave her
no.
be. Yeah, don't antagonize her.
It's
yeah.
just no. That's right. Look, if anybody knows my mother best, it's me. I mean, I literally have lived with the woman more than anyone else on the planet. So if anyone could tell you about her personality, some of her quirks, some of the fun things, the fantastic, wonderful things, it's me. Mm-hmm. There are a few of those, but it's me.
She's a sweet lady. Super, super sweet. I mean,
your perspective is your reality.
Hey,
You taught me that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
that's some psychological shit right there.
Oosh.
Your perspective is your reality.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true.
She's a piece of work, that's for sure. But, I do have to say that she has definitely been the one most
Constant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. I mean,
I'm incredibly impressed at how good of an attitude you've had about the situation. I'm assuming you had to grow into it though.
I mean, for the okay, so look. Who in the hell goes through divorce and recovery at the same time? Literally at the same time. Who does that?
I mean, technically they're both good things for you at that point.
Unless you're an alcoholic, truly an alcoholic, you don't go through both at the same time. So when you find out, when you wake up from a surgery, damn near on your ex-husband's birthday, and the only person standing next to your bed is your sister, it's kind of a thing, right? So ahead of time. You expect it. Now, that's not to say that before the accident we weren't having some struggles, because we were. We 100% were. Mm-hmm. There were some issues before the accident even happened. But you would think that seeing a life-altering, life-changing, in some cases a life-destroying event would make a person go, holy crap. Well, it kind of did. Just in a completely wrong direction. So, yeah. You realize that you have to learn, for lack of better terms, you have to learn how to stand up on your own 2 feet. And
emotionally, shut the fuck up, Jake. Don't laugh at that.
He's not.
You just hear him in the background go. Just breathe. I just heard his breath. I just heard.
But he's right.
It's a hell of a way to learn how to do that.
Exactly.
You're so fucked up,
Thanks
Jake.
to a 700-pound four-wheeler, you learn, and you have to decide that you cannot let something change your emotional stability so drastically that you drowned in it. Because if that's the case, you're not going to recover. So,
and it becomes your fault at that point.
That's right. So
you let it control too much of your emotional space.
The depression sets in, the blame sets in, and once you end up in that kind of headspace, well, you already have enough baggage you're carrying around to begin with. Mm-hmm. Now you're also carrying half of your body as baggage that you have to be able to push yourself around, so to speak. And if you can't do that in your own head, how the hell are you going to do that this way? Mm-hmm. It's just not going to work. So you have to find the humor. 99% of the time, it's the humor that gets you through it. So
you can't let it be a white elephant, too.
No,
what is it? Is that the phrase?
I mean, that's...
Or there elephant
in the room.
Yeah.
You can't...
White elephant.
It's a little racist.
It's a little racist. I apologize. I've had a couple.
But it was on accident. It's okay.
I mean, nobody drinks Michelob besides white people, so it was one of those things. We've had enough Michelobs.
Is that true?
No, I know this guy. So. It's just not true at all.
Not at all. But no, what I'm saying is like you can't let it be the elephant in the room because that just makes things even tougher.
It does.
If
It
you
makes it
ignore
so
the
much worse.
elephant in the room, it's just gonna get bigger. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. So this is why
Are you telling me I should leave or?
You gotta
hell's
keep
going
that.
on here?
You can't get rid of that.
I keep snotting myself. The
Jake,
unexpected
you
hard
really have to
laughs.
stop making him do that.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, dude. I know I'm just getting over having like a head cold, but you gotta stop.
That's
Do
not
it
an
this way
excuse.
next, okay?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That's what friends are here for, man.
He just grabs it and just
Except
like
you're
deodorants
going
himself.
somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going to your baby's birthday party, you dickhead.
So not good. No, not responsible of you. But
So because you had such a physically life-altering thing, and then the mentality of how it followed afterwards, as well as now you're going through an emotional, divorce is basically like that living person died to you emotionally.
well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much the answer because I now have to learn how to adjust to a new life. I mean that's what it boils down to. Because the fear
Completely new life.
Exactly.
That's like divorce on two different levels.
Yeah.
You're divorcing yourself from your significant other at that point, as well as the half of your body
half
that you
of-
grew up
exactly.
on. I mean, that is fucking bananas.
Well, I was 30.
The mental fortitude you have to have.
Was I 37? Because Sis was 7 years old. Yeah, I was 37 when my accident happened.
I can't even begin to understand the mental
47 now.
fortitude that you have
Yeah.
to go through that.
Well, honestly, clearly the first 15 days were not fortitude at all. They were, holy shit, what the hell's going on? And I still have sand in my hair. What the fuck?
There's a 7-foot dude now cleaning me.
Cleaning,
Yeah.
exactly, so, and I'm so high up that I can actually see out the windows. Okay, this is a problem,
Yeah.
Getting over to Tampa General, and I finally get, what was interesting, because the first thing they do at Tampa General was, you have occupational therapy, which is where you learn to do all the things you need to do with your hands, the act of living again. And then physical therapy, where they're helping with the momentum of your body trying to live again. I was fortunate. Not everybody can say this, but I was fortunate. So I got transported in on a late Friday evening. And PT and OT typically only happens Monday through Friday. And they've warned me ahead of time, you're not going to meet your actual assigned physical therapist until Monday morning. Okay, fine. Well, whatever. So I spent the weekend just hanging out with Nana because she wasn't going anywhere.
That stubborn old lady. I love her.
She's something. So there I was, dealing with Nana deciding that she was going to start taking over my cathing and all these things. And
Sounds like my dad. Sounds like some
was-
shit my dad would do. Be like, I'll give him his IV.
yeah,
I know better
I'm
than
taking
you.
care of this.
Yeah, I know
That's
better than
basically
you.
what was happening.
Yeah.
So Monday morning, when my physical therapist actually came in, well, technically the OT folks came in first, which was a guy. Again, his name is Gary, which is interesting. He comes in and he goes, "Damn, girl, you need a bath." I was like, "You're not kidding, right?" He goes, "We'll take care of
I'd
that."
do it myself if I fucking could, you
Yeah.
dickhead.
If I could actually walk to the shower, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Not happening. He goes, "We'll take care of that." He said, "There's this interesting chair. We're going to get you transported in, whatever." He said, "But unfortunately, I probably can't do it till tomorrow because they only had 2 showers on the unit that those of us that were in wheelchairs could get into, and you had to be on the schedule."
Run me through the fucking dishwasher at this point.
I was saying car wash because there's got to be one. I mean, we're saying
One of those ones that drags you
exactly.
You just lock the wheels in and it just pulls you
See,
through.
I mean,
And the thing just...
yeah.
Should get sand out.
You would think it takes care of it on cars.
The blowers at the end.
That's definitely getting the sand out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's on Davis Island. There's got to be one car wash, right? So
I'm saying, dude, all those rich people, you don't think they
there's
get their
at least
AMGs
one-
washed?
I
Come on
mean,
now.
maybe. So he literally was like, "I can get you there tomorrow. I'll get you on the schedule. I'll get you there tomorrow." So he leaves. The next thing I know, there's this chick walking in with this chair that looked like it was for kids, because based on my height and weight, because when I was standing, I'm only 5'1". It's not like I'm tall. And at the time, I only weighed 97 pounds. Well, technically 96 because I had lost a pound. She comes strolling in with this red, teeny tiny chair. She stops it at the door, and then with her foot, she shoves it over to my chair. She said, "Get up." I'm not lying. She literally looked at me. She said, "Get up." And I said, "I don't think I can do that by myself." She said, "That's your first problem."
What?
Her name was Emily. And she literally...
Fuck that bitch.
No. She changed my entire life. She literally
Not
did.
fuck that bitch?
Nope, we didn't. There are a couple people that we can...
Unfuck that bitch.
Yes. That's the word right
I
there.
take it back. Emily
There-
is a respectable person. I don't know
there
why
are-
yet, but we're about to find out.
There are a lot of people that you could literally say that about. That's absolutely true. Fuck that bitch. I have a few people I can say that about. Trust me. Oof. Emily is not one of them.
Okay, I need to know why, because at this moment I'm on this fuck that bitch
Yeah.
train.
It's actually quite simple. When she said that's your first mistake, she was referring to my thought process. Because my first mistake was, I can't do this by myself.
Assuming you were incompetent.
Assuming
Not
I was
incompetent,
I guess that's the
incapable.
wrong-
incapable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to be fancy.
You can do it. You're a powerful woman.
Well, she didn't quite go that far, but she did use the term bitch a couple times.
That's the
so-
term this day. If this accident happened 10 years later today, they'd be like, "Oh, women can't do everything."
Yes. Yeah. She...
This is woke shit.
Why would you assume I'm a woman?
That's the new wife.
Ma'am.
That's the new wife. Stop.
Shade thrown.
Oh boy.
Shade thrown.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
boy.
I apologize.
No,
I
you don't
didn't
need to
mean that. I
apologize. No, she 100% meant it, and it's for certain stands. I don't accept the change in thought. Continue. So
no,
Emily, not fuck that bitch,
No,
but kind
Emily-
of fuck that bitch.
by the time I left rehab, I literally was crying in Emily's arms and telling her she saved my life. Because for the first 15 days...
Shout out Emily.
Yeah.
Sorry I said fuck you.
The first 15 days, I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to continue my life. It was hard. Emily reminded me of two things. First and foremost, I am possible. So not impossible, I'm possible.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, she reminded me that I had children that I needed to prove that no matter what life threw at you, you get the hell up and you just keep going.
Dust yourself off. 15 days later,
Keep going.
keep going.
That's it. So she looked at me and said, "Get up." So I had a turtle shell.
How do you do that as a person who walks into a room, kick a chair?
Walks in a room and kicks
can't,
yeah.
I can't imagine the balls, the unmitigated
wore her-
gall that you need
trust
to
me.
kick a chair over to a person who just broke their back and be like, "Get the fuck up, bitch." Just David Goggins style, just be like, "I'm running, motherfucker." What?
All right, so we got to make a pact. If that happens to one of us, one of the boys,
Oh, 100%.
we got to walk in there and get the fuck up, you pussy.
Wait, I'm doing that. Oh, minus the
100%.
walking, but I'm doing that.
So imagine Emily's night home that night when she's eating. she's begging the dude she's dating.
Oh, well, that was
And
easy.
she's like, "I guess what I told this lady to do."
That was easy because she was secretly dating the OT guy that just left my room saying, "I'll get you on the
no.
shower schedule."
Oh no.
Was she
I-
pegging
So
him?
yes, they were actually secretly living together.
I just picture Emily just being like this absolute fucking unit with traps.
Close.
just like, "Get the fuck up, bitch."
Peg me? I can't take that. You see, now that's your first problem.
That's exactly right.
First you thought this is a 12-inch dildo, and that's not what you should be thinking about.
You need to use your hands better because he was an OT, so it was this. We're gonna have to strengthen those fingers,
I'm
buddy.
oversensitized.
I'm sorry.
Ooh. I'm overstimulated. I said that wrong. I'm sorry.
Listen, bud. People like me and you need to stick to the biggest words, but we can accurately say that would be Chevrolet and mayonnaise.
And I don't feel good.
And that's your first mistake.
I'll feel no good.
That's your first mistake. Chevrolet. Jeez, Ryan. You need dinner.
I need carbohydrates.
We going to Waffle House?
I went to Waffle House last night.
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
No.
It's really not.
The problem is getting there.
No, the problem is what I'm going to eat, because I will spend 20 minutes looking at both menus they have.
No, smothered and covered.
On the hash browns?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Did I say?
I'll spend 20 minutes trying to convince myself to get something else, and then the waitress finally comes. Okay, sir, you have to order. You've been here.
Sir, you've been here my entire
I
shift.
get the All-Star
Yes.
special.
Yes. The shift is changing and I need paid.
Dude, I always similar to you. I always get the same thing. I get the just bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich. It's so good.
Really?
So
Never
good.
had it. All-Star special. Every fucking time.
You should
No
try it.
way.
I've had one of their melts or whatever a
Reese,
couple times.
I get-
They're pretty good.
I get the bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich there, and then I also get a Reese's waffle. Put butter on the Reese's.
waffle.
Wow.
I've never had that.
You're-
That sounds good.
Let's put it this way, Jake. You've lived.
Damn it, I'm fat.
Let's put it this way. Let me just say this. There's life before you've had that waffle, and there's life after.
Oh, we say that
It's
about
two-
my
It's
accidents.
two different life.
I'm
This
Officer
waffle-
Reese's. What's going on here? He got peanut butter in my chocolate. He got chocolate in my peanut butter.
Left, right, Kit Kat. Well, it's one or the other, but take your pick.
I don't think Mom got the Family Guy reference.
I've seen that. Yeah.
I am
yeah,
so
yeah.
concerned with anybody who's still listening to this point of the podcast if they've been able to keep up with half of what we fucking talked about today.
Yeah, because we've gone all over the joint. Literally.
It's good. It's
What
a good.
happens with me?
It's a good.
Sorry, it's my fault.
Jake, it's a
Not your fault.
Jake, it's a solid waffle.
Solid as opposed to what?
So good. So you take it's peanut butter chips, chocolate chips, and then I don't know how they make a peanut butter chip. Don't ask me. But I also don't know how they make chocolate chips because I'm stupid. But then they give you the butter, and you put the butter on it, and then you put the syrup.
That was fucking amazing.
So I literally got
Okay,
home last
so-
night after eating that, and I literally got home and I'm like, I can't see. I'm legally blind. I was just walking around just in a coma, like emotionally from the food I ate. It
Oh
was,
my god.
I was so. I woke up this morning still burping Waffle House because of having it.
You have a
last night.
waffle maker?
How'd you know?
If you invest in a waffle maker, you can make those at home. I
Yeah.
can tell you exactly how to do it.
Why invest into a waffle maker when I can go to Waffle House?
Because it's cheaper.
But I love the atmosphere of the Waffle House.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
I-
100%.
the atmosphere of knowing that that person also lives in a trailer.
There you go. I was going to say that's a different conversation altogether.
Knowing that they also
the queen of
have
my
family
double
and
wide
friend
trailer.
problems. And knowing the food's still going to taste the
So
same.
authentic.
The food's still going to taste the same. And rich people and poor people like gather in this establishment. And the sweet tea is...
If I pull up and at least one of the workers isn't outside smoking a cigarette,
What's the point then?
I'm going to the next
Going
Waffle
somewhere
House.
else, yeah.
I'll save you the trouble. You're at an IHOP. You're not at a Waffle House.
Or a Cracker Barrel, one or the other.
You went.
If
You
it's
took the
not
wrong
like
turn.
that-
You're at the wrong restaurant.
Yes.
yep,
Yep.
If the menu isn't greasy, I don't want that shit.
I send it back.
It's 100% factual. We went to a Waffle House in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I remember the lady there had her son sitting there coloring at the table, and it was one person. Everything she was doing, everything. It was just 2 p.m. And this one lady with like 3 teeth was
Lucky.
the server and the cook There was no one else in the restaurant at that time.
Did they have
Probably-
3 teeth combined between the two of them?
It's the
or-
best
No, it was-
waffle
it was
experience I've
one
ever had in my
person.
life.
She
went in there,
probably
I got the
owned it.
bacon, egg, and cheese. Probably. I ordered the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich and the fucking Reese's waffle. And this lady made all fucking, I think there was 9 of us. Because I remember, because this is during COVID, and I remember posting a picture. This is when they said like groups of 10 or less. And I was like, there's 9 of us, so we're good. That was the caption I put. And I remember there was 9 of us in that Waffle House, and we had a great time, and we ate a bunch of waffles.
Yeah. She
I
owned
can
it.
guarantee you at that time I was in a group of about between 3,500 and 14,000 people at Rancho
Probably.
at one time.
Yeah.
That was insane. Like they shut everywhere down. Remember they had a curfew.
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
curfew. You weren't allowed to be on the road. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
so at
down
like
here they
not,
did.
at
We
like
didn't have that.
9:30,
We really
I'm
have that?
hauling ass to Zephyr Hills to go to Rancho and
Yep.
be there all night long. I'll drive home when the curfew's lifted at 7 a.m.
See,
Was
they
there
know-
really a curfew? I had no idea there was curfew.
yeah.
They knew better than to do that in Indiana because our kids were in a cornfield. So there ain't no
Indiana,
point.
there's like 4 people.
If you weren't
anyways.
essential, you
Look.
couldn't be out.
If you get on I-475, take your pick, 275, it doesn't matter. You get on any interstate in this state, and you're bumper to bumper. You can get on the second major thoroughfare. Technically, it's the first now. Second major thoroughfare that runs north and south in the entire state of Indiana. I can get on it at 8 in the morning when you would anticipate to see bumper and bumper. It takes me 10 minutes to see another car. Literally.
And the deer are bigger. The homes,
deer are
Huge.
and not only that too, the houses are cheaper there.
100%.
The
about
income,
a third of the price if you're.
and not only that too,
Cost of living's about a third, and the wages
are the same.
are actually they're a tiny bit higher,
Depending on where you're
and they
at.
come back up to about the same after you account for the small amount of state income tax.
Which we have. We do have state income tax. Actually, the lady that's running for governor, hopefully, but she's saying her biggest campaign is axe the tax. So she's trying to get rid of state
There's
income
a politician alive that wants to get rid of taxes.
tax. Yep, she's
I'm
trying to get
fucking
rid
in.
of.
Vivek
I'm
Ramaswamy is
hold
my
up.
fucking guy.
I'm going on
I'm behind you with
Realtor.com
that.
now.
That's my
I'm buying a
fucking
house
guy.
over the phone.
Yeah.
Hold up, I'm buying a house over the
Oh,
phone.
the blue cap is pending now. The one that's straight out from a front porch, blue cap, it's pending. Yeah.
I
But
hate it when a house that I'm nowhere near ready to buy sells. Pisses me off.
That's a whole clip right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
100%. This is the whole Florida real estate market.
yeah.
No, I'm looking out. I can't afford to live here.
Oh,
I can't
God,
even
no,
get
dude.
close.
No, it's insane.
Have you seen the statistics on like how many millennials are living with their parents or having their parents
Have
pay for
to.
this?
Sir,
The wages are the same
Or you
as
have
what they were.
Or you have 14.
Sir,
removes.
have you seen my household?
I don't know if you want to get into that.
I
Mom.
am a statistic.
Really? Oh, no shit.
I'm a multiple statistic. This is a statistic, and I have two millennials still living in my house.
No shit.
A 5-bedroom house with
It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house.
No
with
vacancy.
No vacancies.
the big house.
It's a $160,000 house. Like
It's 185 technically, and no vacancies.
185.
It's the biggest
That's-
house around them.
That's an $800,000 house in Florida.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
With damn near.
In both places, you're gonna make $25,
And the deer are bigger?
Oh God.
like 3 times the size.
Wait, what cities are you close to?
Evansville is the closest city. It's the
What state's that in?
Indiana.
Okay.
I would not. Oh, let me give it to you this way, Ryan. The next 2 cities that I'll tell you about are both in Evansville. Both in Indiana. Evansville is the 3rd largest city in the entire state, and it only has
Out of 4 cities.
Well,
Indianapolis being one.
Indianapolis.
Number 1.
Indianapolis is number
I'm going
1.
to assume Fort Wayne is number 2.
That's very good. Evansville, which is 30 minutes from me, is number 3.
What's 4? Gary or Terre Haute is 4.
Gary.
Fuck that place.
And Gary is trash. It's Little Chicago, is what it is,
It's Giant McLean Middle School. That's what Gary is.
basically. So
It's the most
Evansville,
racist thing you say if you track what you said earlier and what you just said now.
so
Chill.
You're so racist.
It was an accident. You're accidentally racist.
I
See Theo
mean,
Vaughn's joke where he's like, I'm not racist, but I have flare-ups in traffic.
that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not always hungry, but
But when I am,
cheeseburger could cut me off in traffic.
And all of a sudden I'm starving.
no, Jake, a wet burrito will cut you off in traffic
Oh, man.
for a lot of different reasons.
If you're ever in the Evansville, Indiana area, there is a restaurant called Hacienda. And we
You
make
can't.
we make it an absolute priority to go there every time that we're there.
Yes.
They have is it like a pound? 1 pound, 2 pounds?
Oh yeah,
like
the
that?
big one.
Yeah, it's a giant wet burrito. So the first
It's called
time
the big one.
yeah, look now that's racist.
It is very much racist.
The first time she ever took me there,
No, that's good advertising.
there was like 12 of us or something. I'm sitting on the end of the table, and they bring me this wet burrito. It's this big.
It's the entire plate.
It's giant. It's a big plate. Like it's ginormous.
Yeah.
And I took one bite, and something happened during that bite.
He had an existential crisis at that moment. His soul left his body, and he said, "Holy shit!
Hey, if I'm not chewing this, as long as it's in front of me, something's wrong.
Don't
And
watch, Mom. Everything on the plate's about to
I ate
disappear,
the whole thing literally in
including the
about
plate."
how fast? How long did it
I
take me to
mean,
eat it?
it was at tops maybe 4.5. Literally, without swallowing everything, 4 minutes tops.
I'm so overstimulated. I'm so overstimulated.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's so good.
I'm scared to laugh more.
It's so good.
My face hurts.
Yep. Now, technically, Hacienda has like several different locations, but only in Indiana.
Well, yeah, there's haciendas everywhere you go. You'll see a Mexican restaurant called Hacienda, but I
Yes,
guess
but
this is a
specific.
right, and they're really good. They make their own ranch, best ranch you'll ever have.
Oh
It's
my
not that
God.
hillbilly shit that
Shout out
Joey Diaz.
one of the haciendas in this conversation.
You gotta buy. So I saw. I was up there because a truck driver a few weeks ago, a couple months ago.
It's been a couple months.
Couple months.
Yeah.
And whenever I go through the area, I make sure to stop and we'll meet up or something, or I'll come hang out for the day, whatever. So I had, as long as I have spare time, as well, whatever, I'll make time. We had a couple hours, so we met. She picked me up at the Loves on 64 in Evansville, and there was a hacienda like 5 minutes from there.
Yep.
So we went there, hung out for a couple hours, like ate delicious food. You can get a big container of ranch to get, you can buy it.
Yeah.
Homemade were like the best ranch ever. And I was like, well, Allie, my girlfriend, she loves
Girlfriend sounds like lower on the totem pole. Can you please call her your baby mama?
Baby mama. Baby mama.
This is the mother of your child. Can
Mama
you say
Jelly
something that's a
Bean.
little bit higher
It
than
does sound too
my
low.
girlfriend?
It does sound too low.
My
I can't
girlfriend.
afford to be married. What the fuck?
In
Mama
this economy?
Ginger.
Keep going.
Baby mama.
Yeah. Mama
In this
Jelly
economy,
Bean.
you guys are getting married?
My woman.
There you go.
Actually, this is really bad
this is the
because
lady
she
who-
doesn't know this. I never told her.
You didn't tell her about the. Oh my god.
You're talking about
No,
the
I'm too far in.
Jake. You talking about the lady who raped you on the cruise?
The rapist.
Yes.
The rapist.
Okay, keep going.
Oh shit.
I got her one of those containers around. Like, she loves ranch. I'm going to bring this
you
to her.
didn't tell her.
And you drank like
And it was like Tuesday, and I was getting home Friday.
I'm
and
sorry,
by
Allie.
Thursday morning, it was gone. Because I was like, I had something later that evening, and I was
my
like,
God.
oh wow, like I have a lot of ranch here. Like I could use a little bit of it for this.
next thing you know, he's scraping the bottom like.
He was. That's exactly what happened.
Once it got down to like a third of the way full through two
I
meals,
can't give
I'm
her
like,
that.
I might as well go full hog now.
I'm sorry, Allie.
He just pours it on his food.
You know you're in
never told
trouble
her.
when you. Oh, you're in so much trouble. You're in so much
Jake,
trouble.
I'm keeping this in the podcast. I'm not cutting any of this
You
stuff
should
out.
not. That would be. You're in so much trouble now.
Damn it.
Yeah. What a troublemaker.
It's so
much.
good. So good.
It is. So you have to come to Indiana when it's deer season. Then it
Yeah,
sounds
apparently.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just bought my
Typically-
lifetime everything license in Florida, so now I'm thinking about moving states.
Well, we
It's about how shit goes, right? I literally bought it a year ago. It was like $1,000, and I was like, you know
Wow.
what? I plan on living in Florida forever. I'm gonna buy it and I'll have it and I'll make my money back.
You-
And then
wait,
now
wait.
I'm like, let's move to Georgia. Like it's just the housing market said, "Fuck you, Ryan," and now I'm like, wow,
It's impossible.
I have to move out of state or I have to live in the middle of fucking nowhere, Florida. Which at that point, I might as well live in another fucking state.
Like a little more than 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, if you said your budget to buy a home was anything under 200 grand, you didn't sound crazy.
I'm not
You sounded
completely
like a
crazy.
solid middle class citizen doing your job,
Very true.
wanting a normal, decent home.
And you're buying something in your budget. Very respectful of you.
Right. Like,
If you went to 210,000, that's like okay. That's you're
then,
pushing the
yeah,
edge of
it's
your
gotta make
budget.
it some pretty good money, you know what I mean?
And you're pushing the edge of your budget. You know what I mean? That payment's gonna be $50
Right.
more. You're pushing it.
Today, we make the same exact amount of fucking money as we did then. But if your number is anything under $300,000, oh, you fucking piece of shit, poor motherfucker. Like,
300,000 doesn't buy you much, Jake.
I
What
was
the
gonna
fuck?
say
are you
that's
talking-
that's what I'm
generous.
saying.
Yeah.
Anything under 300, like 300K is
You're
where,
buying a trailer.
where
for
somewhat
under,
decent homes
Yep.
start around here.
If you're buying-
Meanwhile, you make the same money.
if you're buying something under $300,000, you can just assume that person's buying a complete dump or a trailer.
No.
What's the point?
Well, and even some of the, when you look at it from that perspective, fine, they might be buying a trailer. It just depends on which one you're buying. Are you talking about the trailer that sits on the side of the strawberry field?
Yeah, literally.
What,
That's where I live in. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying
Yeah,
that's
It's-
the point.
This real estate has gotten
because
so
the
fucking
market
ridiculous.
here is that's right, the market here. However, like you were looking at, you come to Indiana and you're looking at something within that budget, and you're buying a 5-bedroom house within that budget. My house is on a almost a damn near 3/4 acre lot, and is a 5-bedroom 3-bath home.
And like it's an older home. It's in good shape and everything. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And it's been added on to and whatnot. And that's in little tiny town, but
There's 500 people in my town.
really tiny town. Your
And
house
I'm-
is like
I'm in politics now.
Valrico, like newer style houses, nice yard. You know what I mean? Like that
$400.
style piece of property. $400,000 all day long.
Easily for a modest one.
100%.
Easily.
3-bedroom, 2-bath,
Well,
normal fucking house.
Think about this. What you grew up in, Jake, is now a $500,000 house. But when you grew up in that house, $500,000 was a mansion.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you can
Was a
buy that
fucking
exact house that I'm
mansion.
talking about in
Yes.
Valrico. The
You're-
same style in Indiana. In Evansville area itself, 180, 190.
It's like your home in Sefner. If you would have kept it and then and just tried to sell it now, you would have cut like 2 to 3 times the amount of money you paid for it. Probably.
Well, it was a rental.
Oh, it was a rental. But
Yeah,
I'm saying,
but-
but regardless, what it was worth when you rented it,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
I mean, the houses have more than doubled in that
Yeah,
area
for sure.
And Sefner has never been like the pristine area to live. It's
Nope.
always been
Good
like
old
this
Methner.
is
Good old
the only
Methner.
this is where we afford to live. This is
Yes.
where we want to live.
Yes.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
And now people would fucking. We went and looked at a house in Sefner when we were looking for homes, and I literally was like, "This is at the top end of our budget, and it needs work."
Yeah. Well, I mean,
What
that's
the fuck?
Yeah.
We make right at the medium income for this area.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Like what me and Allie make, if I would have known when I was growing up that, obviously, my professional football career failed, like I'm working a normal
Clearly.
job.
You're gonna make me snot again.
We're making, well, that was the first option. We're making the kind of money we're making. Like, we should be upper middle class. We should be good. We should be comfortable, living a
outside-
good life.
outside linebacker career.
career easily. Yes.
I mean, definitely
I think you carried the wrong weight.
definitely a lost opportunity there for the NFL. Of
Hey,
course.
100%,
that's what I
100%.
said about my runway modeling career. Sorry.
That's what I say about my podcasting career.
It's not dead yet, buddy.
It's on its way.
Just
I'm
getting
kidding.
started. But yeah, my grandma, she bought her house in 04 in Valrico. It was like 169, somewhere around there. And I like told you, I was how much do you think it's worth? 'Cause I was on Zillow messing around. It's worth just a rough estimate for the area, $470, and it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bet you never planned on having a $500,000 house, did you? She goes, no.
It's just a regular ass
Well,
house.
congratulations, you own a $500,000 house, and you never planned. But the problem with that is, so you buy in your budget of under 200 grand, like a normal upper middle class family should be able to do. Mm-hmm. Now you own a $500,000. Now you pay property tax on a $500,000. Now you have the maintenance of a $500,000 home.
Exactly.
You never planned on it in the first place. Like,
Yep. Yep.
fun times. Like, I get it. They're going to appreciate the way that it's blown up in like the last 3 years, especially in Florida, because when COVID happened and we were one of, I think, two
California
states who
just
didn't
drove their
shut
people.
down.
Yeah, California and New York said, "Hey,
Yeah.
get out or stay." And
Right.
Which,
Authority,
looking back, we would have never thought this then, but not shutting down was a bad decision, honestly, because we experienced
for real estate, yeah,
we
for
experienced
first-time home buyers.
hyperinflation like
Yeah.
no other place in the country because of the supply and demand. And it might not even crash here because the market's still scarce.
Do you know how many people are standing on the sidelines waiting for the home prices to go down by 10%?
Nope.
It's fucking do you know how many people?
Took you long enough.
Wait, what is it? Still standing? Is that what I said?
what you
Standing
said.
on the side.
That's offensive. It's
It's a
racist.
poor taste of words. I apologize.
No, it's perfect.
I missed it for a second too. I was like, I'm talking statistics here. I don't understand what I missed up. But there are so many. The demand for affordable housing has not changed. What's
No,
changed
that's
is
right.
the amount of affordable housing.
That's right. That's right.
As soon as a house gets into the range of affordability for an average income person, there's 85 people that show up to look at
Yeah.
it.
And 65% of those people are real estate agents trying to flip.
Mm-hmm.
Which-
Or investment people going, hey, I'll give you 80% of what you're asking in cash,
In cash.
if you fucking sell it to me. Mhm.
Because then I'm going to turn around, I'm going to do a couple little tweaks to it, and then I'm going to sell it for 3 times what you
Not
were
even
trying
sell
to-
it, rent it out for $3,000
even
a
better.
month.
Yeah.
Because you can rent something out to somebody
Yeah.
for more than what they can get approved for a mortgage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I've dealt with
Yeah, that
peop-
makes sense.
I've talked to people that are paying twice what they will get approved for a mortgage. They're paying double that amount in
In
rent.
rent. Yep.
And they're like, how come I can't afford to buy a house? And I'm like, you're fucked. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, that's what it boils down to when you talk about your debt to income ratio, and then you look at what they're actually trying to buy based on what their debt to income ratio will allow.
Plus
so
the
to speak.
interest rates and plus the
yes.
prices of the homes.
It's just they're
It's a tough time.
Literally shit out of luck.
It's a really good thing I don't technically exist because it would suck.
If I live through this. You know what's crazy to me about all of that is that we're technically going through it. It's being called the silent recession. Because we're going through this and it's like it's not being recognized on a national
No,
level.
it's not.
It's individuals talking to individuals in conversations like this where people are going, "Hey, this shit's fucking wild." And we're all experiencing it. We're all like the memes that come out about like mortgages and buying homes and stuff like that are hilarious. But that's all we're doing is memeing about it. You know what I mean?
and we're not addressing the fact behind it. so.
Nana has no idea on Fox 13 that it's
Because Nana doesn't watch for Fox 13. She's
I mean-
not quite that red, so
No,
to speak.
no.
You gotta really have a perspective on it, man. Like, they have came out lately and legitimately said, "Hey, aliens
Here's it in
are
Mexico.
most certainly real," and we're like, "Yeah, no shit. Lower
knew
the
that
fucking
already.
cost of living."
I can't buy a home. I'm not worried about someone taking my house. Why am I worried about an alien landing in my backyard? I don't have a
I
backyard.
don't have a backyard.
I'm living with my parents. That's their problem.
Let me ask you a question of what the greatest thing our generation has ever done and will probably ever do: the planned invasion of Area 51.
Damn it.
By far the greatest thing.
But just like our generation, they pussied out.
People did show up and they had a fucking rave concert there.
Yeah, and they pussied out because the entire Area 51 was like, we're ready to nuke this motherfucker.
Those were the best memes ever.
We're ready to nuke these motherfuckers.
The plans of who was going to attack from the Naruto runners coming from the north. And then what was the ultimate goal of everything? Why did we want to get in there? It wasn't for curiosity. It wasn't for science. It was to clap some alien cheeks. That was the fucking reason.
The dry bones.
The greatest thing we'll ever do.
Let's invade Area 51. They can't stop us all. That was just the name of the group, and it was unchallenged.
Billions and billions.
I will argue this though with you, Jake. I will say that that's not the best thing we did. GameStop.
Oh Jesus!
I wish
We literally, our generation flooded and completely operated the stock market for one company. You're like, oh, it's going under. Bet.
Not today.
Everyone
friends.
take all of their $20 and put it towards GameStop.
That's what it
And
is.
everyone did it. And GameStop was like, we're rich as fuck right now, but we're losing money. What the fuck?
Yeah. One of the major cryptos to blow up. It's literally a meme.
Yes.
Which one?
Doge.
Doge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the meme.
And then you have Shiba Inu, which is the name of the dog that Doge is.
Doge is.
We are a meme generation. That's
you
how you
kidding?
know it's a
Memes
silent...
are the greatest thing to ever happen to the internet, without a doubt.
internet porn?
Wait.
Mom is sitting right here. Not that she has another option,
Wait.
but she is sitting right here.
Do you
Right.
understand? If there was any viruses on your home internet when Jake was living there,
Buddy.
it was him.
Okay, we're not.
Listen, I'm just addressing the elephant in the room, okay? It's not internet memes, it's pornography. And statistics would back what I'm saying, so don't act like I'm crazy. A third of all of the internet usage is for porn. Don't fuck with me, Jake.
Oh.
The other third is the fucking Amazon and Googling, what is this thing on the news I saw? Fuck with me, Jake. There's people Googling the alien from Mexico the other day.
Alien from Mexico. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you're missing out.
Are you under a fucking rock? How are you going to claim to be from the meme generation? You didn't see the fucking alien that they put on display in the Congress of Mexico.
Yep.
Are you...
Where the hell would I have seen that?
Instagram, where everyone else
Yeah.
saw it.
TikTok.
Besides
I've
Nana.
not gone on Instagram lately.
That's right.
I've gone on Facebook.
Hey, TikTok.
They literally... You can see its face.
Everything lately. I mean, I have you
Have it
know.
in a coffin.
I don't know if I learned any news between the months of September and February. It's nothing but football.
That's a whole lot
football.
of time.
Sorry.
He's so concerned with how Aaron Rodgers...
I mean, that's a pretty short
that has ever
time
happened
frame.
to a Jet in New York.
I am the manager of 7 fantasy football teams.
Herein
Do
lies
you know
the
how
problem.
difficult that can be sometimes?
I should hook you up with my buddy who makes severe money off of betting fantasy football.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, don't. Allie would not appreciate that. Don't do that.
He used to sell betting advice on Patreon.
Also,
For fantasy
Allie would
football.
not appreciate that, so don't do that.
Like you can
either.
subscribe and you can just follow his betting advice. And make money.
Ryan, you're digging it. And the
I always have the
whole
best
thing.
like draft ever,
Be friends
and then
with
make
him,
the
not
worst
enemies.
decisions throughout the year.
Did you pick Aaron Rodgers for your quarterback?
See,
In 2 leagues.
see. Like I said, Allie
Yes.
is going to be very upset with you.
I'm sorry, Allie. I can't change that Jake's retarded.
How am I supposed to know he's going to tear his Achilles 4 plays in?
He's a Jet in New York.
Yeah,
That used
those
to be
don't
a-
go in good directions, I'll tell you that.
You made the joke earlier. It's 9:15,
Used to be a Packer, so
and you made a 9/11 joke 4 days after 9/11. Not to include all the ones
4
you made.
days and 22 years? It's been long enough.
Spoiler alert: Jake's gonna make a
too
fucked
soon.
up joke.
It's still too soon. I mean,
How deep? We're getting close to 3 hours.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, I've been emotionally drained for 2.5.
I'm too much. Too much.
too much.
Too much.
Oh, too much.
No, I've had too much. I've had
Stupid fucking
I've
name
had-
for a dog.
It's a great name for a dog.
I have had too much fun today. I need to take the next 2 days off. I can't have fun for 2 more days.
Hey, do you need? I have a spare chair if you need to be pushed around.
You're coming over tomorrow.
I don't think my insurance covers that.
Yeah,
It's
you'll come
free
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be there. Are you gonna be at the thing tomorrow?
for a hot
Nice.
minute. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yay.
This has been fun.
Ooh,
This has been fun.
gotta.
Next time you're in town, we'll do it again.
Well, you know, I'm seriously considering at least every couple months visit at this point.
Don't buy a house here. You can't afford it.
Oh, I'm not.
It's crazy.
Dude, I can't afford the 2 weeks that I'm here, let alone buy a
Can't
house.
afford this chair.
That's exactly right.
It's fucking $5,000.
With insurance.
That's what I paid for my Suburban.
Which one?
No. Yeah, good point.
Jake's owned more cars than he has underwear.
I'm on my 29th.
I mean,
No, I've owned quite a bit. I've ruined a lot of pairs of underwear.
I've snotted myself too many times tonight.
once again,
Okay. Thank you guys for coming on and doing this. Jake, thanks for coming back. Cari, thanks for coming and doing this in the first place and talking about your life experiences. I wish we would have got more into them. I am exhausted at this point from laughing too hard.
Happy to
But
be on For Some Reason We're Adults.
somehow we're adults. It's a hard thing
I
to
think
figure
he's
out.
right, though, for some reason, we're adults.
Yeah,
I
literally.
never asked for it.
The next thing you know, you look up and you're like, wow, like
You're my age.
I have to pay taxes.
Yeah, like I said, you're
I
my
don't know what the
age.
fuck a tax is. All right, thank you guys for doing this.
Thanks
It's been
for having
fun. Shout out again to the barbershop for paying for the alcohol. That's
Woo-hoo.
Fadeaway Barbershop in Plant City, 1705 James Redmond, I believe. Check it out. All right, thank you guys. Bye. This episode of Somehow We're Adults is over, but if you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to one of the levels of the Patreon, where we will release bonus episodes that can't be found anywhere else. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon would be used to upgrade old equipment, as well as get new gear so that we can make the best podcast for you to tune into. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Somehow We're Adults, where I share clips and content about the podcast, and the link in the bio will take you to any of the Somehow We're Adults pages. I encourage you to check out another one of the episodes if this is your first time listening, and if you're a repeat listener, thank you for your support. I love making the podcast, and I hope you tune in for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults.